which
This
is required for
conference
the
will
work.
now be recorded.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for recording, starting the recording. Let's start with the topic name. So today I would like to discuss something on interesting topic called as a Daemon Sets, which we have not discussed. Small topic, but interesting topic. Daemon Sets. Is it correct spelling? Wrong spelling? Okay, so I'm not sure. Okay, Daemon Sets, and then we are going to see static pods concept. After that, we'll be deploying the ELK stack today. And if time permits, we will be doing how to take a cluster backup, right? ETCT backup. So these are the topics which I am planning to cover. ETCT backup. And apart from that, there are a couple of more backup topics are left out, such as cluster upgrade. This is one important topic which is left out. Then there is HA availability. So we have to discuss about the HA cluster. We'll have a discussion about one of the architecture level thing in the HA cluster discussion. So we'll see how should we, what are the points we should take care, consider while designing your high availability cluster, Kubernetes cluster. That architecture we would like to discuss. Then we'll deploy the AKS, and over there we'll do the dynamic provisioning. Right, so these are the couple of topics which will be left out that will be seen in the next session, guys. We'll try to cover up these topics today. All right, and one more thing is that full stack application deployment, that also we want to take it, full stack application deployment. So we'll consider by considering entire stuff what you have studied till now, if you want to deploy application, how you can deploy the full stack application. That this is what the topics which are left out, and this we are going to see, guys. So let's start with the daemon sets. So what is the meaning of daemon sets? First of all, in many sessions of mine earlier in the Docker also I explained what is a daemon. So if any service which is running inside the operating system and right now available in the RAM, which is serving the request of the users, right? That process is called as a daemon. Okay, every time when you restart the virtual machine or your server, that service comes up in the RAM and starts functioning. So any service, which is any program which is right now in the hard disk, which is in the hard disk right now, if you bring that program into the RAM, that program is then that program is called as a daemon. So what are the examples that you know about the daemons, guys? Can anybody name the services which are running in the RAM, which you know, which you use every time? Anyone? Anybody would like to? Yeah, Docker D. Correct.
Proxy.
Proxy is the service running in the, yeah, okay, proxy. So kube proxy, right?
Yes.
Yes, CNI also Anirban says that is a view network. Hey, other than this one, other than the Docker and Kubernetes, anybody would like to tell me some other daemons which are running in the system? And they are important. They are required for the system operations, such as OS daemons, right? Yeah. So one of them is SSHD. Whenever you want to access the system, you have to use SSHD, right? I'm just telling you. HTTPD. This is also a daemon. You know, you use FTP. You use a telnet kind of. Telnet is a socket based now. DNS we have named. Why these are required? Because they have certain functions to perform, right? And that's why they are there. If you want to perform a DNS, you need a named service. That named daemon should be running inside the RAM. If you want to work with the FTP, you should have a daemon running in the RAM. If you are running with the you want to host the website, you should have a HTTPD running in the RAM. So these are the daemons. These are the operating system daemons. So similarly, whenever you are starting a Kubernetes cluster, to start the cluster and keep it running in the server, you need certain amount of daemons. And you rightly said that there is a kube proxy is there, the CNI is there. These are the daemons. So their function is there to do some task in the Kubernetes cluster, and that's why they are expected to run continuously. If they go down, your entire their operations will get there will be a cluster will not perform properly. So the daemons are the entity which is required to run or perform some functions inside the RAM or inside the Kubernetes cluster continuously till the time your cluster is up and running. So which are the daemons available inside the, and another important feature of the daemon sets in the cube. So I hope that daemon concept is clear. Now what is a daemon sets? Daemon set is another very interesting component, a very interesting kind. It is called as a kind. It is a kind of the Kubernetes. Like till today, we have seen something called as a pod as a kind. We have seen the deployment as a kind. We have seen the replica sets as a kind, or replica sets, right? We have seen a lot of kinds are there. So one of them is a daemon set. We have seen the stateful sets as well. And predominantly, if you see, if you are launching the applications in the Kubernetes server, you will see daemon sets, you will see deployments, you will see stateful sets kinds. So these are the majority of the kinds which are used. So daemon set, when you define any service or any application as a daemon set application, important thing is that it runs on all nodes. When I say all nodes, it includes the master node also. But we need to do some modification to get the master to run the pods on the master node. And I will show you that how to execute the program or daemon on the master node also today. So please keep this in mind. Daemon set kind is used for so that that particular service will run, or the daemon will run on the all the nodes, including if you feel that it should run on the master node also, it can start. Okay. So I have certain one definition for the let's go through the one slide to understand if we have the entire stuff of the daemon set. So what it says that it ensures that an instance of a specific pod is running on all nodes in a cluster. This is one
This
important
conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So a daemon set ensures that an instance of a specific pod is running on all nodes in a cluster. This is important statement. How to do that one? Which are the daemon sets are there? That we'll see. What it says that it creates a pod on every cluster. It creates a pod on every cluster node, and these pods are garbage collected when nodes are removed from the cluster. So if your daemon sets are, let's say these are the worker 1 and worker 2, and on these daemon sets are running, these pods are running on both of these worker nodes. But due to some reason, if this is gone down worker node, so this is not going to shift to some other place, right? No, this won't happen. It will be removed. This pod will also, daemon set pod will also get removed. Now that is the meaning of this garbage collected. When nodes are removed from the cluster, so daemon sets will also get removed from that worker node, and that pod will get died. That is another important statement. We can use daemon sets for running daemons and other tools that need to run on all the cluster nodes of a cluster. So basically, as I told you that we can use daemon sets, right? If you want to run any service or program to be uh, executed on the all the nodes, we can use a daemon sets kind, such as monitoring, logging, right? or maybe some other mechanisms, networking. That kind of applications you can run as a daemon set. Okay, so we might have seen that when we started the cluster by using a kubeadm init command, that time many pods have come. That time many pods have started as the daemon sets. So before starting the scheduler, the daemon set, because of the daemon set, some of the pods has got started and they perform certain tasks. We can perform rolling update on a daemon set. Do you remember what is rolling update, guys? Rolling update is nothing but what? Mark search. If you or let's say rolling update is nothing but if you have a newer version of the software, you can update that. You can do the rollback. You can do the upgrade. You can pause it. You can do all that operations on the daemon sets. Okay, now apart from this one, you can also run the daemons on specific nodes. So what is the meaning of specific node? Specific node is nothing but that. Let's say you have a 10 nodes are there in the cluster, and out of that 10 nodes, you have 5 nodes as a development nodes. Let's say you have a 5 nodes as a development nodes. These are the developments. And you have marked remaining 5 worker nodes as a prod. Okay, so these are the labels has been given. Okay, so now what you want to do, you want to specifically run some of the daemon sets or some of the, let's say, logging or monitoring of stuffs on the development, and some of them need to be run on the execute on the prod environment. So you can run the daemon sets on a specific node also by using a label methodology, label and selector. Deploy the daemon sets on the on the worker nodes whose label is equal to dev. Deploy the pod or kind called as a daemon set pods on the prod on the worker nodes whose label is prod. So that is what meaning is node specific. And how we can do that, guys? We can use an advanced scheduling concept called as, what is that? Node affinity or node selector. That kind of concept we can use to run the specific daemon sets on the specific set of the machines. All right, guys. So that is the meaning of that. Yeah. So how you can do that one? You can see here we can use node selector to deploy the specific sets of the on the specific node set of nodes instead of all by using a node selector. Okay. It also use the node affinity principle, and we have seen that what is a node affinity and what is a node selector. So let us. I think this concept will get appropriately cleared in case once you do this. Once I show you the demonstration, I would like to show the demonstration. So how to create a daemon set, guys. Okay, so then once I will show you the demonstration, please do ask me the questions if you don't understand that one. So I would like to show you the demonstration how to create the daemon sets. So first of all, try to understand kubectl get pods -o wide. So there is right now there is no pod inside the default namespace. Okay, so let me check out what are the pods running inside the kube system, and these are the important pods running. See here now, this core DNS, kube API server, master server, kube API etcd. These are the standalone pods which are running on the master nodes. This kube schedule is also a standalone pod which is running on the master node. This is the metric is there. Metric is kind of a deployment. It has got deployed, right? This view network, you see, it is running on the all nodes, including master, worker 2, and worker node. And you can see the kube proxy also. I think kube proxy is also running on this one. So which one is the daemon here and which one is just a normal pod? How to check that? So we can use command kubectl get daemon sets, right? Okay, I can use a smaller, this one also. Let me check out from the name cube system space cube system.
Ramesh, I
You
think
can
it's
see,
DAEMON, Ramesh.
yeah, spelling is wrong. I corrected it now. It is DS. So can you see that instead of the Daemon Set, I have used the shortcut now. I will recorrect that spelling later on. Okay, so can you see it is showing that there is a cube proxy. This is a Daemon Set. How many of them are there? 3, right? And they are running on all the nodes, including so they have used node selector called as OS is equal to Linux, and it is running since 6 days, 23 hours. So similarly, we have a ViewNet. So there are 3 pods which are running on 3 pods which are individually running. Each one is running on each worker node and master node. There is one pod running on each worker node and master node. So these are the 2 daemon sets, and they are performing their task. Whatever the task has been given to them, it is performing, but they are available on all the nodes. If any one of these are going down, the performance of your Kubernetes cluster will be degraded. It will not work. Okay, so we will also see that what is this etcd master. This is a pod. This is absolutely pod, right, guys? It is not a deployment. Can I check out, is there any deployment in this kube system? Yes, there is a deployment, but how many of them are there? The core DNS and metric server, this is showing as a deployment, right? And if you see here, a pods, remaining all of them are pods. So etcd master is a single pod. Kube API server is a single pod. I think this controller manager is also single pod. This scheduler is a single pod. So how the single pods are running and why are they running here? They are doing a fantastic job because they are the important parameters of the cluster. If it is not available, then this will not function as well, right? So we are going to see how this is created. So first of all, we'll focus on the daemon sets. So let me go to one of my YAML file. I would like to now define the daemon set kind and create one YAML file, and then we'll deploy that YAML file inside this one, right? So let us try out one example. VI, I think I have one daemon set file. Daemon set. Let me take a backup of it. One.yaml, and let me just work on that. Open. So they here you can see there is something called as a fluentd application is there. We will not use this difficult application to understand. We'll use a simple application to understand. So let me remove this volume section. Okay, so this is okay. Termination, yes, I can remove this as well. I don't want any volume mounts. I want to show you the simple form of the daemon set. Right, and this is a container definition, and this is a toleration. This is a template, and what we'll do, what is the image it is using? It is using some this image, fluentd. Let me delete this as well. I will show with our regular image, with the image, how we can create the daemon sets. It may not have that function to perform, but I will use a simple so that you can a simple form to understand. Let's use Nginx image, and this is my, let's say, container name is n1. This is a type called as a daemon set. This is API version. Let me change this one to the, let's say, f1. The name of the daemon set is f1, and let's make it simpler. f1. Let me make it this also f1. And this label is important. This should be f1 as well, right? Okay, cool. I think everywhere it is f1, right? Okay, and there is something called as toleration is specified here, and that is called as node role Kubernetes IO master. Effect is no schedule. What is the meaning of this one? I will try to show you. Can anybody tell me one thing, that will this pod whose container name is N1 and image is Nginx will get deployed on master server as well? Let me repeat the question. Will this particular YAML file deploy the pod called as Nginx, pod called as F1, who is having container N1 and image is Nginx on the master node?
No, it won't.
Yes, no. Somebody says no, somebody says yes. Jay Prakash also says
Yes.
no.
I think yes.
I think yes, right? So we'll see that, guys, right? Then I think you will understand what is the meaning of it. We have seen in the toleration. Okay, we had that topic, right, guys? If I'm not wrong. So let me say this. kubectl apply -f daemon set 1.yaml. Okay, what is the name of the daemon sets? F1, right? So it is created kubectl get daemon set. Was it started created in the yes, it is showing. So daemon set called as F1 has created. It has a 3 desired stuffs, 3 current, 2 ready, 2 updated and all. So there is no node selector is not selected here. Let me just see one more time. So you can see that 3 desired are there and there are 3 ready are there. So where are these 3 pods are running? So can you see kubectl get pods -o wide. Look at this. This is running on the master worker 1 and worker 2. Okay, so guys, it is running on the master. So it has taken the pod on the master node also. Why is it so? So look at this, what I'm demonstrating it now. Let me give the answer of this question, why it got deployed on the master node as well. So kubectl get nodes -- show labels. So what is the labels on the master node? Can you see somewhere it is called as a kubernetes.io/master? Somewhere you can see this is host name is equal to master. This is one of the label. This is the label I think it has been used. Okay, so these are the labels. And now let me open the file again. Cat and see the label name here. Node role kubernetes.io/master. Okay, so that is the label. It is available. You can see here, master node. This is one node. This is one label. This is another label. Okay, this is
the last one.
The last one.
this is last one, right? Can you see this is the last one, right? So we have the this one. Okay, so what is the taint on this one right now? What is the tainting, guys? Tainting is nothing but something which is a condition which has been applied on that node, whether to accept the pods or not. So let's take out what is the right now condition. See, basically, if I try to create a pod right now or deployment, so that pods or that pods doesn't get deployed on the master node. Why is it so? If I use a command kubectl create deployment application 1 using some Nginx image, it doesn't get deployed on the master node. The reason is that kubectl describe a node called as master pipe grep -i taint. And can you see here? It is showing that it has been assigned with a taint called as no schedule. And because of this taint, master server doesn't accept the pods. Okay, and so if you want master node to accept the pods on it, you have to write the toleration condition. So what toleration condition will say that please accept the pod on the node where this condition is been mentioned, toleration condition has been mentioned. All other pods will not be accepted, but since it has been written inside the pod definition that even if any node has this kind of toleration, no schedule toleration, please allow to deploy on that one. And
Hey
because
Ramesh,
of this
can we
reason,
also
it is
deploy a
getting
static
deployed.
pod?
I'm coming to that
I mean,
point. I'm coming to that
okay.
point. I'm coming to that point. Okay, friends. So yeah, and if we are using the toleration for the pod level also, we can definitely do that one as well. So if you define a kind called as a pod here, and if you define the toleration here as like this one, definitely that pod will get defined static or whatever the pod you say that it will get deployed on the master node as well. 100%. Okay.
But that
Now,
will be, uh, since you already have a taint on master server, no schedule, and we deploy a static pod,
mhm.
but this will be a static pod, right? So is it a specific one pod or it will be any pod we can deploy on master using toleration?
Any pod, that is what I'm saying. Any pod, not
Can you
static pods
show us
only.
example also, if possible?
Okay, I'll just see that if it is possible. Just give me some time. I'll try to. Let me finish this one, huh? Then we'll see. Um, okay, so I hope that everybody has understood why this pod got deployed on the master node as well. If you don't want this pod should not get deployed on the master node, this daemon set or this pod which is having a daemon set, how it will get, why it will, how we can avoid from that one. So you have to just remove the toleration condition. If I remove the toleration condition from the definition of this one, it will get removed. So let me show you that, guys. 2.yaml. So vi, and this is a, let's say just replace this f1 by f2. Okay, so it has got changed at all locations, and now I just want to remove this toleration. Okay, so toleration is removed. Now this is our normal pod. So where this particular pods will get deployed, and see, I am not specifying replicas here. Daemon set doesn't support replicas. Okay, so now you see here this, if I deploy this daemon set, this YAML file, will the pod get started on the daemon set pod will get started on the master node? Yes or no?
No.
No, it won't, because there is no toleration defined. Yeah, that's cool. Very good. I hope that everybody understood that now. Kubectl apply -f daemon set 2.yaml, right? And let me deploy this case. So it is created. So kubectl get daemon set. Look, it is not taken the 3 number now. It has taken 2 number because you have removed the toleration. And now see where these pods are running. Only on worker 2 and worker 1 and not on master node. So if you want, any daemon has to be run on the worker nodes, you can remove the toleration. If you want your daemon sets to be run on all, you can include the toleration as well. I hope that that is clear to each and every one of you. Let me show you that static pod condition which Vivek has asked. Quickly, I will show you that. It will not take much time, guys. And then we'll move ahead with the another static pod concepts too. And I will pick up the questions in between. So please see this example properly. So cat Daemon set. So I can just CP it, guys. CP daemon set 2.yaml as a daemon set pod 1.yaml. Let's see. So I'm going to define a pod here. Vi. No, but I need to take a definition of the pod. This will not work. CP.
No, yeah, simple create a pod.
Yeah,
Maybe
simple
by
pod.
static pod also we can create, right? Doesn't matter. We have to create it through YAML.
Yes, I will create. But no, but how will you specify that in this one? Nginx pod was there, right? Let me just check for this. Yeah, pod 1.yaml is there. So I will copy this as pod 1 _ daemon set. So later on I can reference it now in the next session. If somebody asks the same question, I can quickly show that one. So I'm creating that database as well. Daemon set. So before that, let me cat it first of all. Cat yes, right. I need to pick up this toleration. Okay, and here I will not use this. And now I need to specify this toleration inside the okay. So this is my pod and specifications are this toleration. I think this should pick up. Let me check out.
I think you can remove other spec. Okay.
This one, yeah, this one need to be removed, correct? But this toleration is the is it for the container? This should become at this level then.
Yes,
Yeah.
Ramesh, I think tolerance should come there.
Hmm.
And
Let's see here.
also, Ramesh, do we need to put a taint on the worker node so that it will not go to specific worker nodes? We just going to deploy only on master.
No, if it is a daemon set, right? If I take a daemon set as a kind here, then automatically it will get deployed on the worker nodes also. You wanted to just
No,
check the
no,
static pod.
yeah, no, no. What I'm saying is that if you deploy, since worker nodes also doesn't have any taint, right, at this moment. So if you deploy this YAML of
Mhm.
pod, it may go to deploy on worker node. It will not go to deploy on master. There may be highly likely chance, right? So just for
Right,
testing purpose, if you put the taint on worker node, it will always, because only master is available. So because there is no taint, there is no there's a toleration on master, so it will go
Yes,
automatically deploy only
I
on master.
understood. I understood what you are saying. Uh, okay, what I will
But
do.
anyway, we can check. I mean, that's okay. Let's try. If it would go to deploy on, it's your
No, it
probability,
will not.
right?
It will not go on that one. I know that one. If I use a daemon set here, no, sorry, this is name is there, right? I need to change this at the.
No, just put the taint on worker node 1 and 2, and deploy
Let me check.
with the
But
same
if what kind of case you will provide there to the worker node?
pod. I mean, let's do the kind pod, right? And
Let's see.
kind pod, yeah,
Hmm.
and see that where it's deploying first. That's with the normal condition.
Okay, let's do this quickly, guys. Pod 1 _ daemon set. It is created. Pod 1, right?
I think
Yeah,
it's
let's
like
see where is it created.
Yeah. Somebody was saying something. Yeah. It is gone on a worker.
it's like any other normal pod only, right? There is nothing new. He was asking for a static pod, I guess. I think we have to run it in
The
separate.
normal
No,
pod
no,
also.
no. I'm asking that we need to put a toleration on master, but not daemon set, kind pod, right? So that it will deploy the kind pod on your master node, but right now it is trying to deploy on worker node because your worker node does not have any taint. That's why.
So yes, correct. So I will tell you one thing now. What will for the time constraint and everybody's time one? Let me tell you one thing. If this will, if you taint this particular worker nodes with some other policies, and so that it will all the worker nodes will get tainted, as well as all the master is already in a taint mode. So what will happen? Again, it will go into the random state, and it will deploy on the any worker node. So for that purpose, if you want to make, if I want you make to understand about whether this is going on the master node or not, what I need to do, I have to deploy the deployment, because then if I do the deployment, I can
Okay,
skip
no
that
problem.
deployment.
I understand.
Okay,
I
that's
can
fine.
do. I can test myself, Ramesh. No problem. We
Yes,
can go ahead. I mean,
please. And thank you very much for that. Okay. Uh, Guys, okay, so before going ahead, let me summarize what I said about the daemon sets. So daemon set is a kind, okay, daemon set is a kind which runs which runs the daemon set spawn on the all the nodes, provided you have written a toleration on the master node, so it will accept the pod as well. Daemon set has a specific task to perform, and for that purpose we created daemon set pods, and they will be keep running till the time your cluster is up and running, right? If you want to deploy a daemon set pod on the specific nodes, you can use labels and selectors to deploy on the specific pods, specific nodes. So that is what the summary of the daemon set. So now let me pick up the any if you have any other question, and then we will go ahead with the discussion of the static pod as well. Okay, so I will just clear
Ramesh,
about the, yeah, one second.
yeah,
Uh, Aviram is
in the
asking, do we have a list of functionality of daemon set for new cluster, right? Any other question? Okay. So do we have a list of functionality of a daemon set for new cluster? Yes, we can list it. So Aviram, you tell me one thing. We have two daemon sets are there, Aviram, right now. Get daemon sets from the cube system, guys. Please see, this is a good question actually asked by the Abiram. And Abiram, see, these are the two. Whenever we define the two cluster, we want to start the cluster. That time, whenever we bootstrap the cluster, that time these two daemon sets get created automatically. What is the use of kube proxy? Can anybody tell me? We have discussed in many sessions function of the kube proxy. Anybody would like to tell me what is a kube proxy? Why it is there? What is the job of the kube proxy?
It manages the IP tables in the route the network to IP tables.
Yeah, so that is a one thing. That is a kind of networking. Can you say that on the each worker node we have pods running, and to manage their networking, forwarding the traffic which is coming from the service layer to the pod, all that job is done by using the kube proxy, right? So kube proxy modifies the IP table rules. Kube proxy forwards the traffic from one port to another port, right? And why service is required? Sorry, why basically this thing is required? What why there is a need of kube proxy? The
Because
reason
kube
behind,
server on master node communicates to kube proxy.
It's maintain a network, actually, network rules on all the nodes.
It creates the IP address of pods.
uh let's say these are three pods running. This is my deployment, high availability deployment. Pod 1, pod 2, pod 3 of the same application running on the multiple worker nodes. Do they have same names and same IP address every time? No.
I think it's communicate with the scheduler to let him know where he's gonna deploy the let's say the
Communicates the availability of the node to scheduler, so the scheduler can pick where the pod can be placed.
Okay, that is one thing, but let me just complete this one, guys. See, these are the P1, P2, P3 pods are there, and at any point of time, this IP address, right, or name of the pod is not constant. This is not a persistent in the state of deployment, right? So how you can then talk to, let's say, if the customer tries to access this application, which IP address and pod name you will give it to the customer so that customer will access, right? It is not possible, and that's why there is a introduction of service has been there, right? So service component has been added here. So what service component does? The service component's endpoint is all the IP address of the pods. So there is something called as, at any point of time your IP address or pod names gets changed here. Okay, so that will be updated as a endpoint in the service. So service will take care, along with the help of the DNS services which are running inside the worker node. Along with that, it will try to update whatever there is in the whatever the IP address or name of the pod which is coming in as a service endpoints in the service. So now, but this particular service always has an IP address, right? And it is a persistent, like a cluster IP address or node port. This IP address is a constant, so that IP address you can give it to the outside customer. So what happens? This is a service created, and there is a kube proxy item here. So what kube proxy does, guys, here? If anyone changes the IP address, if pod terminates, so before terminating, it will create a new pod. As you know, the deployment methodology replica sets are there, which will bring the new pod, but it may have a different IP address. So along with the kube proxy, it will be updated inside the set of these endpoint in the endpoints of the service that new IP address has been come. So the moment there is a new IP address, change in the IP address, then kube proxy will make a change in the IP tables. That look, now the traffic from this service IP address to this IP address will go. It will add or remove the rules for the new IP address, and that is a job of the kube proxy. This is one of the job that it will make sure that if any new IP addresses are coming or the services are changed on the port numbers, it will write a rule inside the IP tables, and that's why we have a kube proxy. And in the case of stateful sets, we have seen, does it require a service? Does it require a kube proxy, guys? Yes, or does it require a service?
Yeah, it's requires a service.
But what kind of service?
Yeah, headless service it is.
Yes, correct. Headless service. And when we say service is a headless service,
Yeah, means when the cluster IP is defined as none, that time.
yes. So we don't want the IP address to the service. The reason is that pod in stateful state, the pod IP addresses are fixed or
Yeah,
names are
it's
fixed. IP addresses may not be fixed, but names are fixed, right? Okay. So that is a function of the kube proxy, right? So why this question came right now here, because Abhiram asked a very nice question. Can we list the functionality of a daemon set? So I hope that everybody has understood the kube proxy. If somebody asks you the question in the interview, you should be able to answer this question. So kube proxy take care of the networking on the worker nodes. It modifies, alters the rules, IP table rules, so that appropriately traffic will be forwarded. Okay. All right. I hope that is clear now. And what is the job of the ViewNet? If somebody asks you a question in the interview, what is a ViewNet? How will answer this question?
yeah, it helps to communicate with within the pods, means within the nodes.
Within the
For
nodes, okay.
yeah,
Cluster among the cluster.
yeah, among the cluster.
Right. So you have a master nodes, you have worker nodes. On each node, there is a kube proxy there, which is taking care of the networking in between, right? But how you will just bring all these nodes in one thread? You have to stitch this in one thread, otherwise they will not talk to each other. And to stitch them to as a one thread, right, there should be one third party CNI, that is called as a container network interface, right, need to be plugged in here. so that all the worker nodes and pods will talk to each other, or master nodes and worker nodes will talk to each other. So that is nothing but ViewNet. It is a CNI which is used, it is third-party tool plugin which need to be installed to make sure that all the nodes and master nodes are communicating to each other. Otherwise, it will not join. Even though if you join the master node, worker nodes to the master node, they will not be in the ready state. Till the time is flannel network is or ViewNet or your Calico is not set up properly. So that is the
Ramesh,
job of that. Yeah.
I think there is no connection between VibNet means CNI and the Kube proxy. Means both,
No. Both are different.
yeah, both works individually.
Yes, they are different. Kube proxy will be only managed by the kubelet. Okay. Yeah. Good. So I hope that Abhiram, your questions is answered. And
Yeah, Ramesh.
you have to use mic or something like that because echo is coming. Or you can use a logging methodology if you want to set up the daemon. Let's say you have created application, logging application or monitoring application, and you want to keep it running continuously. You can do that, guys. Right? So you can create a pod out of it, and you can define it as a daemon set. Okay, so Venkatesh is asking how come it is getting created on two nodes without replica sets. So that is the beauty of the daemon set code, right? The logic which has been written by somebody like you while creating a daemon set, they are not using the replica set. So specifically, it is using that. Look, I want to if it is a daemon set kind is there, make sure that that particular pod definition or pod should get created on all the worker nodes. And if you want to deploy on the master node, make sure that it is tolerated properly. So that is why it is coming. So it is nothing. Daemon set controller is a different type of the controller which resides in the master node. Okay, and that is doing that job. So replica set comes along with the deployment. It doesn't come along with the your this one daemon set. Okay, Venkatesh.
Ramesh, thank you.
Hey, Ramesh, this is Vivek. Sorry, I was just maybe your voice is cutting up in between, but just to answer that, Daemon set is basically a special kind which is used to deploy one pod on each worker and master node. Let's say you have 5 worker node and 1 master node, then the daemon set will make sure that one pod will be running on each worker and 1 master node, right? It has
Correct.
that is why we use daemon set. It's not a replica set, it's a daemon set, but one pod will be running on each worker nodes specifically.
Correct, Vivek. That is true. Absolutely correct. Okay, good. Thank you. Is my voice clear, guys? I think Vivek is complaining about the voice. I hope that it is clear. It is not disturbing. Can somebody please confirm?
Yeah, it's clear.
It's clear. Okay, thank you. What is the difference between normal deployment and daemon set? I think Anirban, it is clear now, right? Do you need some more discussion about it?
So Daemon set names your kube proxy and ViewNet. That means one is the proxy, another is the container network interface. So these are the two things, or any other things can come inside the Daemon sets.
Right. That is what I was saying. In case you have written one algorithm or software for logging or for the monitoring purpose, and that software should be, if you want that software should run as a daemon inside the Kubernetes cluster, it should run as always till the time Kubernetes cluster is up. You can define that application as a daemon set. Okay.
One more question. Yeah.
Okay, I got my answer to my question, whether it is only required for cube systems or any other namespace. So it has to be only on the cube systems.
Daemon set, right? You are saying?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't specify any namespace, but by default it is queue system.
No, look at this. I have created another namespace also, daemon set, as we'll see here, which is running in the default namespace. So depending on
Okay, okay, got it. Yeah, got it.
uh,
Yeah.
if
So
your
queue
project
system requires queue proxy and the container network. That's why you mention here as a daemon
queue
set for
system.
queue system. So that now, if you
Hmm.
want to create additional daemon sets, then it is up to the person how he want to define. Though those
Right,
will be running as a DAM servers. Yeah.
right. If your personal application, or there is application called as, or project called as some XYZ project is there, and you want to run the daemon set for that project, you can create in that namespace. It will be only applicable for that project. Okay.
Ramesh,
Ramesh, so,
you-
Yeah.
if
means you
we
told,
delete,
Take
yeah,
one by one. Shall
yeah,
I?
please.
First of all, can I take the questions from the chat box so that this will get clear quickly, right?
yeah,
And then I will take your, yeah, please, if you don't mind. Uh, Anirban, I answered. Ramesh is asking, Q proxy maintains network was or not? Yes, correct.
Yeah,
Is it
Ramesh.
only for the, yeah? Arun Mishra, I
Yeah,
have answered your questions. What mechanism for multiple Ethernet interfaces?
Oh no, that is okay. It should be automatically taken care of by the implementation.
Okay, okay.
So when we
Anirban,
require to have more network interfaces, say for example, one can run as HTTP web server, another can run in the same container as
I think we use
say
the Multus plugin is very good for that. Multus, Multus, Multus
yeah,
plugin is there.
Multus, yeah, Multus plugin is there, yeah. That is
Yeah, that,
across the internal to the pods.
yes, correct, correct. Uh, okay. Um, do you want to answer this question, guys? It just came in my mind. Okay, so consider this is one my pod is there. This is my container. I'm saying not pod. Forget about the container. Just go to the Docker days back, and I want to attach to the two LAN cards inside this container. How I can do it? This should have one IP address from different subnet. This should have a different IP address from the different subnets. How
through the
we can
bridge
add
network,
through the,
bridge network.
yes, correct. So this is a bridge. This is another bridge is there, right? And if you connect this bridge to this LAN card to this bridge, and you can add multiple bridges inside one container, guys. So you, in short, you can, I mean, we can add multiple subnet inside one container, which is coming from the different bridges. Okay, so that was the answer. Okay, fine. So if somebody asks you a question that can we have a multiple network interface cards inside the container? Yes, we can have. And how it is possible in the Docker world? It is possible through the bridge. Okay. Anirban asking, in last example, you tried to deploy static pod in a master using toleration, but it deployed on worker. Why? Did you got the answer, Anirban?
Yeah, but you mentioned the toleration. Means you use the toleration as a label, but still
Hmm.
it deployed in the worker. That's why I get
I,
confused.
yeah, I should have used the required condition. Okay, node
Uh,
affinity, right? If I would have used the node affinity that deploy the pod only on this node where the this is the toleration, and mm, this is a required condition, so then only it would have taken it. Okay, now it has taken the priority based on the availability nodes, and that's why it has gone on the another worker node, resource based priority.
okay.
Mhm.
And means what is that the difference between normal deployment and this daemon set? Because we can use means normal deployment means if we want to use the deploy the pods in worker and in master as well, then also we can do that.
Yes, you can do that, right? Yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
But only thing is that the daemon set is used if without writing the replica sets or something
Yeah.
like that. It will create the pods and it will be running inside the all the worker
Okay.
nodes, and
Means
yeah,
we
that is the
can't
only
increase
difference.
the Yeah, we can't increase the number of pods. Means only the means the amount will be
Scale up,
3. I
yeah,
think so. Yeah.
right.
Only the
Scale up
scale.
is not possible.
Okay.
Hmm.
And one more question I have asked later. Should I
Mhm.
ask now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, that is means you told that for specific purpose that these daemon sets are deployed in master
Hmm.
and as well as worker. Means what are these specific purposes?
No, this is kube proxy and kube view network you have seen. Their purpose we have seen,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Similar,
Yeah.
yeah, and similarly, if you have any other requirement in which you want your pod should be running as a daemon set and it should be continuously available, it will you can define the application as a daemon set and it will do that job.
Okay.
So
Means it will work as a daemon. Means other daemons that HTTPD or SSHD or Docker D
hmm,
means it will
correct,
work
correct,
in that kind. Okay. Okay.
right. And even if you your Kubernetes cluster is down and you try to bring it up again, the daemon sets will come automatically,
Yeah. 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 Understood.
right? Hmm.
Is auto healing, I mean self healing, is enabled or disabled for demons?
No, it does. It is not control with the replica sets.
Okay.
So your question is this one.
No, but I
Let me
think
just
Ramesh,
let me do that
the
one.
question maybe it will auto healing will be there, right? It condition is that one pod supposed to run on each worker nodes. That's the condition. So if the pod dies, it's automatically recreate the pod.
Yeah, we'll see that now. I have deleted one F2 pod. Okay, so now let's see what is happening. Yeah, it is, I think, deleted. It is showing. Let me just see. Yeah, it is. Auto healing is there. It is there.
Okay. Thanks,
Hmm.
Ramesh.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Yes.
how does it take care of that? Because if you're not making any replica set, and how internally the architect work for daemon set?
So daemon set itself is
No?
taking care of it.
Yeah, it has a
I,
property. It has a
It
property,
has
Ramesh. It has a property
mhm,
that daemon set is not a replica set, but it has a property. It will
property.
make sure that one pod, only one pod, not two pod or three pod, only one pod will be will will continue running.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it has a property, right? It has a
Okay,
property, correct?
okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
as the demons don't even die, I think for that reason they are self-healed.
Yeah, but there is an algorithm written in the daemon set type, right? When we use a daemon set type controller, so there is an algorithm, and that's why it is doing that job, right? Some software is there behind it which is taking care of it. So it is not going to the replica set to ask to recreate the pods, but itself within the daemon set controller there is a logic which is taking care of it. Okay, so it is
So,
specifically not taking any replica sets or something like that because it doesn't create any replica set, guys. Please try to understand.
so,
That's why,
so
yeah.
at any
Hmm.
so at any given moment of time, it will take care that one of the pod is running up and running.
Because that is it should if your worker node is running there, let's say you
Yeah,
have 5 worker nodes are there. The job of the daemon set is that it should run that pod should run on all the five worker nodes.
correct,
In case one worker node goes down, it will remove that particular pod along with that. So it is called as a garbage collected,
correct,
right?
correct.
And
That is
there
clear.
are
Yeah.
yeah, right. And there is a 4 pods are there. They will be running on the remaining 4 worker nodes, right? So out of that, if anyone is going down, if any pod is going down, it will self-heal it. It will start again the same pod on the same similar kind of pod on the same node.
Okay.
Ramesh, just correct me if I'm wrong. If you have, let's say, system pods, which is a Q proxy, right? So if let's say you have today you have two worker nodes, and you have created your system pod. I mean, I'm sure the daemon set is, that's why your pod system pods are created all the worker nodes by default. Proxy, we have not created that, right? It's automatically created by the system, and that's the daemon set property. That's why it's created on each worker node. Tomorrow, if I want to add one more or 10 more worker node, the proxy will be deployed automatically to all the worker nodes because of the daemon sets property.
Correct, absolutely. Yes, absolutely correct, Vivek. In case we are adding any worker node additionally, automatically all the daemon sets which are running on the different worker nodes, same type of the daemons will start working on the new added worker node. You don't have to do anything; it will be automatically done. That is another advantage.
Okay. That's a good point. Yeah, thanks, Vivek. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that point, Vivek. I literally forgot that. Okay, thank you. Cool. Now, Padma Shri is asking, can we tolerate both master node and worker node via YAML? We can do that, but there is Padma Shri, yeah, we can do that. There is no problem. We can do it, but we cannot keep all the nodes, worker nodes and master node in the toleration tainted mode, right? Because there should be something should be non-tainted, right? Otherwise, where the worker pods will get deployed, right? If all the worker nodes and all master nodes are tainted. So why master node is tainted? Because it has been designed that no pod should run on that one, no application pod should not run on that one. That's why master node is in tainted mode. I hope that is clear, Padma Shri.
Yeah, it is clear. I mentioned my question was, can I avoid deploying on master and node 1? But it can be done.
It can be done. Yes, it can be done, Padma Shri. It can be done.
Okay, thank you.
I can taint two nodes, one master node, one worker node. That is possible. In the scenario that you have so many worker
I think
nodes.
Ramesh, just think the taint is and toleration as opposite to each other. Taint means not to deploy. Toleration is to deploy as a condition met.
Yes, accept it. Correct.
So Ramesh, one question. Since we have talked about multiple worker node, what about if you have a multiple master node? How Daemon set will play the role?
It will create on the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Anirban, I have answered your question now. Ranjit is asking, why core DNS having 2 replicas on master instead of 1, whereas scheduler, API server, and etcd have 1 replica? So basically, the scheduler, API server, and etcd are not deployments. Since core DNS is a deployment, it has 2 replicas. Ranjit.
Yeah, got that. Is there any specific reason that we have 2 replicas? I mean,
let me check.
Is there any best architecture to have core 2 replicas of core DNS?
Let me check out what cube system. No, that is not as specific. It is for the high availability purpose. I can scale up it also. Minimum 1 is required, but you can have a more than 1 also. It is just for the high scalability, nothing else. Core DNS.
Okay. So what about others? Can't we maintain the high availability for the API server and scheduler, or etcd, something? So etcd is a database.
I will just come to this point. That is the next topic, our static pods. I'll come to this particular discussion. Just give me some time. Let us finish this one. Okay.
Okay.
I hope that is okay. Yeah. All right. Static pods are also that is also a very good concept. We'll discuss about it. And why this etcd master doesn't have it? Because that we'll discuss. Just give me some time, Ranjit. Okay. So answer to your question is that because for the high availability core DNS, multiple pods are there, nothing else. I can scale up it to the 1000 also. Surendra is asking, in generally we have 2 daemon set, kube proxy and CNI. Surendra, I think we have discussed, right? Yeah.
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ramesh, one last question. So, can we
Mhm.
have like two replicas of Daemon Set in same node?
No,
Okay.
no. Yeah. It will run only one pod inside one master or one worker node. There is no replica set concept inside the daemon set.
So we can say that daemon set is only used for independent services, independent application. Is it in that way?
Mostly system related services are there, or maybe
Yeah. Okay.
application related services which have certain functionality that should run on that. No other services.
Okay.
So we
I
can
think
tell it as a default replica set, which value is always 1.
Yeah, there is no replica set.
No, means
In this,
daemon set is a replica set with only value as 1.
no, but there is, okay, that is fine,
Yeah,
but there is
no
no replica.
definition. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, that is okay. That is okay. But please don't make sure that you have understood that daemon set doesn't have a replica set concept. Okay.
Yeah, replica set it may not be a daemon.
Yeah, it is a controller type like daemon set only. And yeah, and when you are firing when you are creating any deployments, okay, pods, by using deployments, the its advantages to scale up, scale down, having a high availability. For that purpose, we create the user deployment type of it, application deployment. But when you are thinking about the daemons, we should run always, and it should be keep running, okay, till the time Kubernetes cluster is running. We have to use the daemon type of it. Okay.
Yeah, one more question. Everybody knows it. So there's a tent, and what is the opposite of the tent?
Toleration.
Toleration. Yeah, but I don't see toleration value when I do a kubectl describe node.
It is there. Kubectl, describe, node.
Okay, let me check.
No, I will show you. Just wait. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
grep, I taint, right? I shown, but I think you might describe spelling. Hmm. What is the wrong thing? Describe spelling, right?
Cube.
kubectl, yeah. kubectl describe node. Yeah. Yeah, tent is there. Yeah.
One second. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. It is there. Okay.
Yeah, no schedule. And then what is the other one?
Toleration. There is no toleration defined. Toleration will be defined in the pod definition. Daemon set, pod. There we define.
Oh, okay. So it is not defined inside the node. Okay.
No, it is not.
Ramesh,
I
just
hope
one
that.
more question. I think you might have already explained, but I just want to double check. Like for this daemon set, like we use only for a system level application, which cannot be exposed to the outside world. Can we take in that way? Because if you want to export that, we need a service.
See, basically, daemon set can be. Yes, that is true. That is true. What you are saying, that it should, when if you don't want to access it from the outside, ideally it should be. It is a system level processes, right? And one thing is that consider that if you have a login daemon set or some other daemon set are there, and if you want to expose that outside, let me see if I can create a service out of it. I have which good question, huh? Good question. Kubectl expose daemon set called as f1 hyphen type is equal to cluster IP. But इसका what will be the port of this? Let's say 80.
we have not saved any port.
No,
for the
but
container.
basically, this is what I wanted to show you, that we cannot expose the daemon set apps. Okay, So we cannot have a
Okay.
service to the.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Just wanted to check. Yeah. Thanks, Ramesh.
Thank you. All right, guys. So tomorrow, if somebody asks you question about the 10-cent toleration or about the daemon set or about the deployment or about the replicas, I hope that everybody is happy with that, right? Everybody is clear with that now.
Yes, till tomorrow. Maybe after that we have to revise and then go.
Okay, okay. All right. So
Yeah,
let's.
Ramesh,
Yeah.
last question. Sorry for that.
Yes, yes, please,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, yeah. As you told that in the last example, you haven't defined that the operator. Means if I define that operator, then it will be deployed in the master node, no? Because I forgot that toleration one. I checked that thing.
Yeah, we deployed the toleration. Yes, we defined the toleration, and that's why it accepted the pod on the master node in the pod definition.
Yeah, but till it deployed in the worker one, you told no.
Yeah, that was a precisely case because other worker nodes was not tented. That's why it accepted it.
Okay.
And we have not given the required condition. We have given the just no condition was there. So any pod was ready to accept who are ready to accept the pods. Scheduler will not understand whether it should go on this or not that. Right. So all three worker nodes are ready to accept that. So since worker one has a less load, it has a higher weightage, and that's why it has accepted that pod on it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Akhil, for that.
Ramesh, will there be difference in then daemon and set and sidecar, right? Or it can be overlap, right? Or
Sidecar itself has a different meaning. It is a container basically. Sidecar container is a container, and daemon set is see,
form.
basically it also have a container, but sidecar container itself it has a different functionality altogether. We cannot compare the daemon set with the daemon set pod with the sidecar container pod. Their functionality is different. They are containers, they are pods only, but their job is different.
No, but sidecar is just like a pattern, right? So that pattern we can say we are following in daemon set. It's an architecture pattern, you can say, right? Or
it is a pattern, but sidecar container always sits inside one pod.
correct. Yeah. Okay.
Because sidecar, why I was thinking sidecar when we talked about logging, we talked about sidecar, and when you're talking about daemon, we are talking about logging. So that's where I was kind of.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, even I also was thinking in that term. Yeah, correct.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
clear,
an
right?
assistant to containers inside the pod.
Sorry?
It is an assistant container to all containers inside the pod.
Right, absolutely correct. Okay, good, guys. Thank you for asking so many questions, and I'm very happy that you asked. Keep asking questions, right? So that I'll feel motivated because you are asking questions. Good. Let's move ahead with another important stuff that is called as a static pod. Do you remember we had a very big discussion initially?
So
What is
one question here: do you have some session on Istio?
Yes, we have it.
Yeah.
But
So
there
Istio
is
is a sidecar container pattern. So that will help us to understand.
yes, sure. So let's discuss about the static pods now. So static pod is nothing but static pod is a small topic, Sonali. Let me complete in the 15 minutes of time, and then we'll take a break, if you don't mind. Sonali, is that okay? Okay, okay. All right, thank you. So as everybody said that why these pods are running, they are so important pods, right? Like etcd, like API server, and they're only running on the master node, right? Look, nothing is there. This is a single-handed pod is running. It is not a deployment, it is not a daemon set, it is not nothing, right? It is just single pod, and if somebody deletes this pod, then what will happen? If somebody delete this pod, there is no replica sets here. Are you getting it? So, and when the static pods get right, so when the static pod gets created, when this got created, do we remember when we fire the command cube adm init, and it was taking some time, it was saying that wait for 40 seconds or something like, and before that you might have seen that it was downloading etcd master, it was downloading YAML file for the API server and scheduler, right? Where it went and got stored. So that time scheduler was not there. So how the deployment and advanced scheduling algorithms will come? Nothing was there, right, when we bootstrap the container. So these pods get installed and get started when you are actually initiating a cluster, and after that they do the different job altogether. So how this pod gets started? So whenever you start the, let's say, Kubernetes cluster, you have shut down and you are again starting it, these pods will get started. So there is a concept in the Linux operating system, and I think there might be the Windows also. If you want to start any process or any application, when your system is booting up, we keep that particular file, okay, inside one local file that is called as rc scripts or rc.local folder, so that if you keep the files inside that particular folder, so whenever you start the machine, automatically that process gets started. So something is like that, you want to, whenever your system is booting up or reboot is happened and your application requires certain components to be started before starting the application, so every time you are not going to manually start it, so you need to keep that files in one location so that automatically it can start it. And that was called as the RC local files, RC local scripts. That is the name in the Linux operating system. Similarly, in the Kubernetes also, if you want to start the some of the pod, like, see, if etcd master is not started, if API server is not started, if scheduler is not started, what is the use of that? Nothing will get started. It is very important and essential. And later on your cluster gets formed or may not be formed, but at least master should come up. And when master is coming up, you don't know that whether the worker nodes are coming up or not. So these particular pods are, or these particular scripts are kept at one location in the system level location, which is read by the Kubernetes daemon, and it picks up that while starting the system itself. And the location where it is stored, it is called as etc Kubernetes manifest. Inside that, you will be able to find out the definitions of these particular pods. It is etcd YAML file. Since it is there, it is running here. The moment I remove it, it will create a problem. Kube API server here. Look at this. Controller manager is there, and Kube scheduler are there. These are the four important, right, YAML files. And if anybody is interested to learn about the etcd.yaml, you can open and you can see it. So if I keep any definition inside this one, let it be a deployment, let it be a static pod, let it be a simple pod, it will start running, guys, immediately. Do you want to see that? Let me show you. Right now, we don't have any different pod running than this one, right? So it is all important pods are there. So let me create one pod here. Let me see if I can. I do have another terminal open, no? What should I do? pi root / Kubernetes. This is where my all YAML files are there, and there is one pod 1.yaml file definition might be there. So let me pick up this file and create one file called as at this location pod 1.yaml. Let me enter, insert, right click. Let me remove the volumes because I don't want to use this. It will work because it is empty directory we have given, but let me remove that one. So it is simple pod whose name is my pod, or do you want something else? Let me give the my favorite vada pav, right? And let me save this. The moment I save it here, you see now kubectl get pods. It is started on vada pav master. It is immediately started. Are you getting it, guys? Let me try this pod1.yaml file and just write here pod2.yaml file. I just copied it. Look at this. Oh, I think it is has the same name. That's why it will not do it. Pod2.yaml. I just change it to the samosa. And look at this. You got samosa started. You have to just keep the script's YAML file inside this folder. Automatically, that particular pods will get started. And this is the beauty of it, guys. Okay. So now let me try out if I can log in inside the worker node, but I don't have the IP address of it now.
Can we create it without YML file just by command line?
No, we can create. Then it is just kubectl command, right? It will be this normal one. No, it is then given to the API server, and from the API server it is coming up. Here,
okay, so
whatever
there will be no YML file inside the manifest folder.
No, manifest folder only YAML files are there.
Yeah, no, because pod 1, pod 2 you created, so it automatically came up. Now suppose we do with a CLI, if pod 1 or pod 2 is not there, so then will it automatically come up?
No, this kubectl command which is we are firing, it will not create the YAML file here. Are you getting it?
Okay. Okay, it will be in the normal path, not in the manifest path.
Right. It will not create any it will not create any manifest file.
Yeah. It will be in the normal kube system or wherever is the default namespace, it will create there.
Right. And where it started, see here? Both of them have started on the master node.
Yeah.
Even though, see, there is now basically my master node is tented. It is not accepting any pod. But if you are keeping the pods, if you are creating any YAML file in this folder, it doesn't have anything called as taint or something that it will create there. Okay.
Yeah. It will go. It will be as for the scheduler. It will go wherever it is required, not in the manifest folder. Yeah.
Scheduler is not coming into picture right here. It is just kubelet is picking up that one and it is starting it. Nothing, no other thing. Kubelet is the operating system daemon. It is not the Kubernetes daemon, guys. Please try to understand. And it is taking care of that.
Yeah.
But it is not going to the API server.
Okay.
Okay, so here we cannot create any deployment YAML, right?
Can we, let me try out. You want me to do that? CP Nginx. Your question is good. Let me just try out.
Ramesh, these are working as a daemon kind, I think so.
Yes. No file. Yeah, sorry. YAML. Now this is deployed here. Let me just check out, guys. Now kubectl get pods. Now it is not started. See,
Means only the static pods are accepted, I think so.
Yeah, it is only accepting the pods. That's why it is called, this topic is named as static pods, because if you keep any YAML file inside this one, which is having a pod definition, it will create the pods.
No, means like what I thought is like if you are deploying this one, it should throw some error, because how internal it will know that it will accept only kind, because there will be some architecture or something will be running inside which will check, okay, it is a kind pod, we have to deploy it. If it is a deployment, don't
So
deploy
I
it.
think we have to check the logs. I think something will come in that one.
It is
Because
not using any UUID when it is defined like pod1.yml inside manifest. But any other place, if you see some UUID should be there.
you see, it is showing here that is created. Okay, but it is not showing any logs for the deployment to check, because it is just taking up as another thing. But somewhere that fundamental will be there that it is checking. Let's say tail hyphen 100f where log syslog. Is it going in that level? They see here, look, because it is a kubelet. I told you now, this is a kubelet process, and it is showing that couldn't pass as a pod.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
no kind deployment is registered for version apps viewer.
Okay. Thanks, Ramesh. That's what they are. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So please keep this in mind. Pods are controlled by the kubelet and not by the API server. Please remember this. Is that clear? Not about only static pods, all the pods.
Yeah, Ramesh, like when I'm practicing, so I have created a static pod in this location. So I did a kubectl get pods from the default namespace, and the static pod listed. And when I'm trying to delete, it was not deleting. Even whenever we do practice, we clear all the resources, right? So when I'm trying to delete the static pod, it was not happening, and it was running from
No,
last 6 days.
it will not delete it. It will, even if you try to delete it, what will happen? See, kubectl delete pod called as samosa master. It will create new one.
Yeah, it was taking so much, consuming more like price in Azure cloud actually. I
Only
don't know what.
one, only one
Remove the
solution.
YAML file from that folder.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Which one you want to remove? Let's say pod one to, let's say, home folder. I'm picking up it. See now here, it is gone. Kubectl get pod. See, it has gone. Vadapav has gone.
Okay, I'll remove.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So in this case, is there a chance to remove of all the other etcd and API servers also?
You can do that. You can do that. But what will happen? The moment if I remove this one, I will not be able to get any deployment details. Do you want to try this one? Okay, let's try this.
Yep.
I'm always
Yeah,
ready
it
to
is
try.
very interesting
Ramesh,
to try with
take backup.
etcd.
Ramesh, take backup.
Yeah, that's why I'm moving it to the another folder. Okay. I'm inside. I'm going inside the home folder now. Look, is my kubectl command running? It will not get the YAML file because all manifest has gone. Okay, so now I need to bring it back. Did you understand what happened? Nothing is working here. Neither my
There is no
deployment will.
data for that. There is no data, right? There is no
Right.
data of the worker node and the master node. So that's why.
Nothing is coming. Yes, absolutely correct. Because everything is in the etcd, right? And if you see here, this etcd was running, and now I am not able to show you that because we are not getting anything, because API server says that I am trying to search the this one etcd database, but I am not getting it because I have removed the etcd.yaml file from this location.
I
Is
think in
the
real.
database is also inside that YML?
No, etcd pod has got removed. YAML file, the moment I removed the YAML file, it has removed the etcd etcd pod from the master node. It has deleted it.
Yeah, so where it will create it again, where from it will get the database back.
Right. No, that is there na. We have not deleted that database, right? It will be there inside the varlib folder. So we have to see that.
Okay, got it. Yeah, okay.
It is there inside it. It has this one, otherwise it will be problem, right? Okay,
Just
so
we
let
are
me go.
removing only the application, not the database.
No, don't do that. Then we
Yeah,
have to take
because
the backup
when
of
the
it.
database get corrupted, we have to keep the database backup, both YML file and database backup. So in case of restoring this, any corruption, so we can restore it back.
Now see, the moment I copied it, connection refused. It will take some time to restore, right? Because the pod is getting created. Yes,
I
it
think
has
your
come now.
keyboard has
It
to
has
come
come
up.
now. It will come up. Yeah, it has come up. It takes some time to come
Yeah.
up. And I have pods also running back.
Is
Okay.
that the
So it is
pods
in
will get a
web.
different IP address?
Yes. 100%, because no, I think it is showing the age is 69 minutes. We need to check that whether it will give the IP address or not, because database on there or pods were now stopped. Just 1 second. Only thing was that we were not able to access them. Are you getting it? See, it is still running etcd master. This is not up and running. It is down still now. Yeah, now it is up. When I remove the etcd pod, it might be it has removed the only access. And what will happen if I remove this file? Move Cube API server, right?
Inside the etcd YML file, there is a mount path, and that contains the barely etcd.
Right, correct. Yes, because it was pointing to the varlib, but right, but pods were running inside it because we have not deleted the kubelet, right? It was running, but only thing is that we have removed the interface between the etcd database and kubectl API, and that's why we were not able to find. So what will happen if I move this file to the home directory? This is the main server I am doing it. Will my kubectl command run now?
kubectl will run, but will not get communication from other nodes. Yeah.
Right. Because completely it has been gone, right? We'll not be able to see. So our API server connection, right? So this is your API server, and from this CLI you are trying to try to connect it. But what you have done, you have removed the YAML file of this particular API server itself only, and that's why this will not run. Okay, so now what I need to do? Bring it back. CP /home/my cube dash API server to the dot location, right? And in some time I will get this back. Yeah, tell me.
So I mean, like in real time scenario, like no one will have this static pod creation. I mean, permissions, right?
Ideally, we should not give. We should not give.
I mean, like how will it be like as per your experience? Or...
No. The thing is that somebody should have access to it to troubleshoot it. It is not like that you don't give the access. Your root privileged people, right? Like those who are senior administrators who are managing this cluster, they should have the access to it because they know what they are doing. And another important thing is that you need to take a backup of all these files somewhere. etcd YAML and this. You have to take the backup of the etcd. And that is what our today's topic is there. One more topic is there, etcd backup, that will also see that, guys. Okay.
Ramesh,
This both cluster admin and namespace cluster admin both will have access to etcd, or only who will have the access to this? I mean, etcd and this all this YAML file.
It will be having to the person who is having a kube admin access. Okay,
So
or the person who is having a cluster role. Cluster role is administrator. The user who is having that cluster role access will have access to the etc.
not the namespace, not the cluster namespace admin, right?
No, if you are a Google, let's say your namespace name is Google, and you are only binded that role with the Google namespace, it will not have access to this etc because it is inside the kube system namespace.
Oh, so the cluster, the overall cluster admin will have it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, overall cluster admin.
Okay.
Ramesh, we can do the same thing in worker node as well, no?
I doubt. We'll not be able to do that. I think so because this folder is not there on the. And why you want the this particular structure is not created on the worker node. If anybody has the worker node in front of you, please try out that.
Because some of the static pods are running in worker also, I think. Oh, no. They're all the.
They are not. They are kube proxy and they are the this one only. Two pods are there. Yeah.
Yeah, they are the
Correct.
deployment kind of thing.
Yes. All right, guys. So let's take a break for the some 10 minutes of time, guys. And once we'll come back, we'll start.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, Venkatesh, thank you for that one. I think then we should be able to do that. etc Kubernetes manifest file is there on the worker 1 and worker 2. We should be able to do that. Okay. So let's now the another important topic called as the ELK stack. And once ELK stack is done, it is very easy topic, guys. And once ELK stack is done, we'll go for the backup of the Kubernetes cluster, etcd cluster, etcd, and that question comes in the exam also. So
Ramesh, before moving, can I ask a quick question? This is something related to the cluster.
Yeah, please.
So, as part of testing, I just copied the config file from master to the worker, that kube config file. So when I copied onto the worker and when I created a YAML file under etc manifests right on the worker node, it got picked up and it got created on the worker node.
Kubelet is there now, that's why it is creating it.
Yes. So in the real time, it is not supposed to get. We are not supposed to copy the config file to the worker nodes, right? It was supposed to be only on the master node. Is that correct?
Right. Yes, correct. You should not do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and guys, please make sure that whatever we have seen right now, if you are working on the production server, please do not do any such kind of stuff. Okay, this is a caution. Please take it properly. Right, Venkatesh? Otherwise, if somebody goes tomorrow in the office and copy the YAML file from some place to another place, okay, you have to be very careful. Do not use this knowledge for any okay, so do not use this knowledge for any what is called as for any destructive work, please. And you are giving me the word that you will not use this knowledge for the destructive work. Only for the constructive work you will use this knowledge. Yes or no? And what is the most important constructive work? Getting good salary out of this knowledge. Correct? Okay. Do you agree with me or yes or no?
Yeah.
Take oath.
No, I normally take this one because when I teach the Linux classes, that time I take a oath from the student that you will not misuse this knowledge for disturbing or for deleting something because your boss is not talking to you good, your colleague is fighting with you. So you should not do, even if you are angry, you should not use that. You should not convert that anger into that destruction, right, Abhiram? Correct.
Of course, that's not
In my office, one incident happened. We deployed a cluster, and the guys took and they started working with controller 1. It got stopped. Master node 1 got stopped. Nobody can log in. Then they took master node 2. Nobody can log in. And then I found I could log in using private key with a private user. And then I copied the configuration from a third master node to these two, and then they started working. Somebody deleted /root folder.
Yeah, see, this is what happens, right? I know that one. And that's why this oath is there. So if I am teaching to any student, make sure that that student will not use this knowledge for any destructive work. That is a promise that you need to give me. Okay. I know that you are all the champions and good-hearted people. You will not do that, right? Okay. Yeah, cool. Thank you. So let's start with the another important topic called as ELK stack. And ELK stack stands for Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch is the name of the database. Name of the database, right? It is a DB. ELK. L stands for Logstash, right?
Logstash, yeah.
Logstash or Logstashing, right? And it is, and third one is K. K is for Kibana. And Kibana is your GUI actually.
But Ramesh, FluentD is a more usage than Logstash.
Yeah, FluentD is there, and yes, correct. FluentD is the advanced version of this ELK. Okay, so what is the job of this ELK altogether? To monitor, aggregate the logs. Aggregation of log is nothing but if you have hundreds of let's say you have hundreds of pods or applications are deployed in your, let's say, 10 or 15 worker nodes, how you are going to monitor each pod, right? Or the components of each worker node, how will come to know that which application is behaving abnormally, which application is running smoothly, and it will be a difficult task, right? So there is a tool, there is this application which is developed, okay, and you can use this ELK stack inside the Kubernetes cluster to monitor the components. So what happens here, guys? If you consider this is your cluster and inside that you have worker node here, on the each worker node, there will be one important component get deployed that is called as file bit. So file bit is the agent which gets deployed on each one of the let's say nodes, and its job is to gather the logs, right? That is a file bit. This file bit will push the data inside log stash. Okay, so what the main job of the file bit is to gather the logs. That is important. So that will be in the raw format. Okay, what log stash does, it converts that into the appropriate format which Elasticsearch understands. Okay, so it formats that logs and it push inside the Elasticsearch database. Okay, Elasticsearch, let's say shortcut, and then you can define a Kibana here. It is a dashboard, it is a GUI based tool. You can deploy that Kibana here, and what Kibana will do, Kibana will pick up this particular logs from the Elasticsearch, and it will visualize, it will create a visualization for you. You can use different kind of the charts, bars, or whatever it may be. You can use that to view the output. So if you have deployed any application called as Nginx, you can easily find out the, you can easily find the search the string called as Nginx, and all the logs related to that Nginx will get displayed on the Kibana dashboard. Okay, so this is what actually flow is. And what is this Elasticsearch, or what is this Logstash, what is this file bit? Is this something called as a YAML files? Are they pods? Yes, of course. All in, if you see in the Kubernetes cluster, most of the things, almost all the things are in the pods. They are in the container, encapsulated as a pod. It has an IP address, and you are accessing, and then it is processing some logic. So even though you have Elasticsearch, that is also database, okay, which is running inside the pod. You have a Logstash, which has an algorithm to create the database, to create a raw data which has been gathered by the file bit in the right format and send it to the Elastic search database, and from that you can populate the Kibana database. So for this purpose, you will require services, because what type of the pod you will use as a file bit? Will it be Daemon Set? Because
Yeah,
we want
can
to
be.
we want to run it on the each worker node. Okay, so what will be the Logstash then? Is it a deployment? Can be. And what will be the Elasticsearch? It is a database, right? Kind of a distributed database. So which type of kind you will use here for the database?
Stateful set.
Stateful set, right? Correct. So this can use it here, right, guys? Stateful sets or deployment or daemon set kind of stuff. Okay, so basically what happens, it is upward direction push. So you don't have to create, let's say, a service for the file bit. And if you want to, so you can create the service for the Logstash, and the data will be pushed to the Logstash but through the service, if this is service. Logstash data will be pushed to the Elasticsearch through the service, and you will be accessing this Kibana. Okay, Kibana will access the data. It will create a query as per the instructed by the user, and it will pick up the data from the Elasticsearch database, and it will display on the screen. This is so simple, right? It is not a difficult to understand. So only thing is that file bit to Logstash to Elasticsearch, and from the Elasticsearch you can have a Kibana out of it. So you can see somewhere in the presentation, I have used that. Yeah, this is the slide which you can follow, guys. So this is ELK stack. You have a daemon set called as a file bit. Yes, I was saying that one. So it will have a service file bit SVC, but as we have seen, the daemon set doesn't have the service, right? So this is something which we need to check. You have a deployment Logstash. So Logstash deployment has a service called as a Logstash SVC. Stateful set, this is our database, and you can have the Elasticsearch for that. And this is a Kibana pod which will try to talk to the, and there will be service for that one, right? So the file bit will send the data to the deployment Logstash. From that, we will send the data to the stateful set pod, and from this Kibana pod will go to the Elasticsearch services, and it will pick up the data and it will display, and the user will access the portal Kibana through the Kibana service, and that is the way it will go, right? So this is the structure of the ELK stack, and we are going to deploy this one. Now, what is the job of the ELK stack? What is the function of each component which you have seen? So for the aggregation of the logs, we are using this stack. So log aggregation system there's a push mechanism to collect the data. That is what the file bit will do. The ELK stack is a popular log aggregation and visualization solution that is maintained by Elasticsearch company. It is the name of the company actually, and it consists of all these parameters like Kibana, Elasticsearch, Logstash, and file. So it has come up with the Fluentd also, that is called as EFK, Elasticsearch, Fluentd, and Kibana. So Fluentd is coming with that Logstash plus file bit has been combined inside the Fluentd, and that's why it is little bit lightweight, but it is very powerful. So you can use ELK stack also. So Elasticsearch, it is a stateful set. It is a real-time distributed and scalable search engine, right? So if you want to if you want to keep a data from the different components in the indexed format, okay, you can put into inside the Elasticsearch database. Allows for full text and structured search as well as analytics. Commonly used to index and search through large volumes of log data. So Elasticsearch is because if you have 100 of worker nodes and think about the log size which will create, it will be very big volume. So since it is nicely indexed, and so that's why you can easily search from the large volume of the data as well. Okay, so Elasticsearch simplifies the data ingest, visualization, and reporting. So it is a normal tool, but it is very effective. It helps in fast and incisive search against large volumes of data. The same sentences, it is a fast, right, it is a real-time data and real-time, and it is used for the real-time data and real-time analytics. And Elasticsearch comes with a wide set of features like you can scale it, you can have high availability, and it is a multi-tenant. So multi-tenant is nothing but you can deploy the instances of the Elasticsearch on the multiple nodes as well. It is a multi-tenant. What is a Logstash? Logstash is a popular open source data collector, as I told you, that it collects the data from the Fluentd, but it doesn't go to the Fluentd to accept FileBit to accept take the data. FileBit pushes the data to the Logstash. So from where this FileBit will get the data, so that we'll see in the FileBit discussion. So Logstash is popular open source data collector that we will set up on our Kubernetes nodes to take container logs file. Okay, Logstash to collect, transform, and ship log data to the Elasticsearch backend. Whatever I have discussed this, I am reading that one, guys, just for the better understanding of yours. The sentences are just differently put up here. We can filter and transform the log data and deliver it to the Elasticsearch cluster where it will be indexed and stored. That is what I was trying to tell you, that the logs can come from different ways in the different forms. It should go appropriately in the database, otherwise you will not be able to read it properly through Kibana. And that is a precisely job of the Logstash. And it will be a deployment, and you can have since it is a deployment type, you can have a high availability. You can have multiple pods, you can scale up, you can scale down. Okay. And what is a FileBit daemon set? It is an agent which ships the logs to the Logstash. It runs like a daemon set on all nodes in the cluster to collect logs. So from where you will get the logs, guys? So we have seen in this one, right? We can find out the logs from the Docker area, or from the Kubernetes area, or from the kubelet related logs from the system area, right? Wherever your events are occurring, from that data, this particular FileBit will collect the data logs and it will push that to the Logstash. So it is a very lightweight shipper for forwarding and centralizing the log data. And what is a Kibana? Kibana is also you can use as a deployment, and it is a data visualization and management tool. It provides real-time histographs, line graphs, pie charts, and maps. Kibana allows you to explore your Elasticsearch logs data through a web interface. And we can build dashboards and queries to quickly answer questions and gain insight into Kubernetes application. So those who have worked on the HPVOV, IBM Tioli, or maybe Nagios tool, open source tool to monitor the applications, they might be relating this monitoring tool called as ELK stack with it, right? So in that also we have the agents deployed on each node, right? And similar thing is there here also. On each node there is a FileBit is deployed. Yeah, correct. Dynatrace is also like that. Okay, so this is Elastic Stack, and before deployment, if you have any questions, guys, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll go for the deployment now.
So
Yes.
in the file bit, is there any configuration to understand that specific pod containers will have specific file paths like log paths and formats, or
Yeah, it
how
is a
it is done?
YAML. It is YAML file only. All these are the YAML files.
Oh, so in YAML file, there is a definition of the log path in
Right.
specific pod and container.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And Ramesh, this you told the Kibana is a deployment, right? That's where I was missing. So I know you indicated about log slash. You talked about Elastic. So Kibana will come in deployment mode, right?
Right. Because it is a web-based, and many users can access it simultaneously.
Okay,
So
it's a web-based. Okay.
Yeah, right. It is a web-based application.
So you were talking about FluentD, another one, right? What are the something you were talking, right? FluentD and Fluent.
Yeah, see, Fluent is something which is having it is called as EFK stack. We are saying ELK, it is called as EFK. So Kibana and Elasticsearch is common there. What is the difference between L and F? So F contains your compressed format of logstash plus file bit. Okay, so this has been replaced as a called as a with the better algorithm and everything as called as a Fluent.
So
You can
here the file bit is not mentioned in the name, I think so. That's the
where
means in the naming convention, the file bit is not.
yes, they have come up with the Fluent concept, and it is similar. Like see, basically this OpenShift and advanced version of the monitoring they are using EFK tools nowadays, not ELK. ELK stack is nowadays. I think slowly it has been replaced by the EFK only. Okay, so that is what, right? And any other question that comes in mind, you guys? Any alternative to file bit? Any alternative to file bit? In the ELK stack, file bit is there. As such, immediately
Understood
not
now.
coming.
Yeah, it is a Fluent bit with data compression. That is the advanced version of implementation.
Yeah, okay. Yes, file bit is still required even when using ELK, right? ELK has a file bit, Abhiram. Arun is asking, that is okay. Padmashri is asking, why can't we push the logs to database directly? Padmashri, so if the logs are coming in the different formats, then there is a systematic way, schematic is the schema is there, right? For the Elasticsearch also there is a predefined schema, and the logs should get converted into that predefined schema, and they should put it inside that whatever the column names are there. Otherwise, it will not accept and it will not give the meaningful information. And that's why we have to convert that into meaningful information and send it to the Elasticsearch so that it can be searched faster. I hope that
Yeah.
makes some sense. Yeah, correct. Right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Okay, Abhiram, I think it is okay. Is it possible Splunk can use to pull the log? If you want to mix it, you can mix it, Surinder. There is no problem.
Actually, Splunk is used for collecting all the logs and putting into. And in this environment, Splunk is used. In VMware, it is Log Insight, where you have a database with no SQL.
Okay. I will try to search on the Splunk because I have not worked on the Splunk. Yes, Surinder?
Because Ramesh, we are going into this world, Kubernetes world. So all other applications, and especially in the retail side, in the store side, we have everything on the Splunk. So whenever the application comes, so all together we need to keep in the Splunk, right? So is there any chance of this Kubernetes can push the logs into the Splunk?
Okay, I will check it. This one, Surinder. Right now, I don't have a ready answer for that. I'll check it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
But again, overall, Ramesh, when we even use Splunk or any other tool, still Fluentd is required, right? That part is still required. The agent is still required in every node, right? Is that how I understand, or should I understand?
Correct.
Or
Absolutely correct. You need to have somebody to pull the logs, but how these logs are aggregated or how they are transformed, that for that purpose, for the different meanings, for the different workflows, they have created different tools, and the formattings are changed, right? The ways has been changed to once the data has been given
I
to
think
the
Splunk should have that capability. It should have GUI to format and present as user wants. But you cannot avoid a print beat or a file beat. That's the basic area from where the source log goes.
Yes, agent is required. Otherwise, how the logs will be collected? And on the
You
top
can
of that,
have in between a log server, and then the log server can send to the Splunk
yeah. But I need to check it whether the
server.
Splunk has any other mechanism other than the file bit or not. That I need to check it. There's a possibility that, right? It can have a different.
It is like a log insight. You have a lot of GUI options and graphs. A lot of things are there. You can extract alarms from the logs. It's a totally a modern database, whatever you will tell, a large size of database.
Okay.
It stores in the blob.
Oh, okay. Understood. Good. I think just I'll check what is the thing need to be checked here, that if you are using a different tools to fetch the logs from this one, from the Kubernetes cluster, what are the agents they are using? That is one thing I need to check it. Okay, I will try to see if I can create some comparison tools or something like that. If I get a chance, I will just do that, guys. Okay, Surendra, for asking that question. Thank you. Okay, Judy is asking that can Elasticsearch on other type of text files that are not logs are collected inside the text file only, right? You can deploy, you can have an algorithm. That is the job of this logstash, to convert that into the way Elasticsearch understands. Can Elasticsearch search on other type of text files that are not log files? But what is from where we get the input to the Elasticsearch? It is getting from the logstash only, right? So in the logstash, if that has a feature to generate other than the log files, it will pick up that one. It will pick up that. Okay, so then the Dynatrace tool, like, okay. Where does Kibana gets the monitoring performance data? I hope this is clear, right? You want to say that file bit, right? Yeah, CI advisor is there, right? It will talk to the CI advisor and everything. Abhirav.
yeah, so no, I was thinking about the CPU and memory. So I know for logs you'll get the file bit, but again I was not sure for CPU or memory. Do we have another agent or those kind of things?
CI advisor is there to fetch that information, and
Oh,
the all other logs related to your application or whatever there is in the Kubernetes. So log locations are there. From that, it will pick up the logs.
okay. So C advisor is for this one. Okay.
Yeah, so it will read the contents from the CI advisor as a tool, so that FileBit can read the information, right? So whenever there is any CPU related performance, okay, so you have another type of the database also that is called as the Prometheus, which is basically based on the metric level metrics, which reads the information from the metrics like CPU utilization, RAM utilization, node healthiness. All that factors comes from the Prometheus database to the Grafana. Okay, so we can use metric based solution to check the check the worker nodes and master node performance from the infrastructure point of view. But the Kibana is basically mostly for the uh, mostly at the level of the application, okay, from which we can get the logs related to pods or something like that, right? If
Okay.
Nginx pod is running or not, if my HTTP pod is running or not. Okay, all that information can be fetched by using the Kibana from the Elasticsearch.
Okay.
More metrics related information is used in the Prometheus. Okay, so Prometheus is something like which is a kind of which monitors the infrastructure based on how many concurrent connections are coming, based on how many what is the based on the CPU parameters, based on the RAM parameters. So there are a lot of concurrent parameters are there. Okay.
So on a real time, I'll require both Prometheus and ELK, right?
Right. Yeah.
But again, I cannot have a single, just a ELK just to monitor both, because I know ELK also has some monitoring capability for CPU memory, but I don't know, maybe we are telling specifically for Kubernetes, it is Prometheus, and that it goes that route. Okay, got it.
Right. So because I have used on the in the OpenShift also, we use Prometheus very frequently for measuring this one CPU parameters on the metric based analysis.
Okay, but Dynatrace is like same as that, or I don't know. Maybe
Dynatrace, I'm not sure about that Dynatrace, but I am sure about this ELK and this
Prometheus. Okay, got
Prometheus.
it.
Ramesh, means this Prometheus working with simultaneously with this ELK means the architecture also worked like ELK, or it's different thing?
It's bit different. It is bit different.
Okay.
You can use Prometheus database. You can use Elastic. So these are the two different databases, right? Prometheus database and Elasticsearch database.
Yeah, means the other thing work as the same of ELK, means the file bit, log stash with Prometheus, or it's
No. It is different. It is different structure altogether.
okay.
So predominantly it is using metrics-based values. So C advisor and metric valuation that will be picked up in the Prometheus database, and Grafana will be used for Grafana or Kiali specifically. It is used to fetch the data from the Grafana Prometheus database. Okay, friends, I think I hope that you have understood at least ELK. Forget about the Prometheus and other things, but at least ELK you have understood. Let's go ahead and deploy it, right? Shall we go ahead and deploy it, guys?
Yeah.
Thank you. So this is something, let me deploy the Elasticsearch. What happened here? Why it is coming to this? Okay, so deploying Elasticsearch cluster.
This document is available to us?
Yeah, it is there. It is available for you.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, all the documents are there for you guys.
Yeah, I did not see this actually. I was searching for this, but I thought maybe it is special. So
No. It is not special. It is there for you guys.
okay, super. Thank you very much. Very
You guys
valuable things. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and deploy this. Create the Elasticsearch role-based access control here, first of all. And then we'll create this is RBAC. Then we'll create the Elasticsearch database. Okay, and then we'll check it. We'll create the STS, and one by one we'll go, and then we'll deploy the log stash. So let's go ahead and create a first of all Elasticsearch RBAC. Now let's see that whether you are remembering it or not. So cd/root/kubernetes vi. Okay, so before this one, I am not going to open this one. Tell me, in the RBAC rollback, what are the things required? First one is defining role.
Role binding.
So what you define in the role? actions.
For capability actions, capabilities and actions. Yes.
Right. That is verbs, right?
Yes.
That is what you define, right? You define that this is my role 1, and having these actions on that. That is verbs, right? And second one is that you have to create a
service account also, right? No?
service account or users, right? And third one is role binding. This question comes in the examination, guys. You have to create the service account, then you have to create a role, and you have to bind that role with the service account. So please keep this in mind. This is important. So I am opening one YAML file now. This is called as vi elasticsearch.rback, and here you can see, first of all, it is creating a service account. It is just name, so I can also create this by using just Elasticsearch login. So if anybody want to create a kubectl create service account colon space Vadapav, it will create a service account called as Vadapav. You don't have to write all these stuff as well. Okay. All right.
How to edit the YAML created for the Vadapav service account?
Okay, so first of all, you have
You have to
to
use dry run.
dry run.
Okay.
Like this one. See, it is there.
Oh,
You pick up this one and you can use it, right?
yeah.
Now, so let me open
Yeah,
the file
sorry.
again.
One more question. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what will be the name of the YAML file now for the
Nothing
service
is,
account Vadapav?
I have to convert that into
Okay.
Vadapav.yaml.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So now it has created this SA Vadapav. I can go and check out there as well. I hope that it is created. Yeah, it is there. Okay, so now next thing is that let me just open the file and deploy it quickly so that you'll understand. So this is created the service account. This is a cluster role. What is the name of the cluster role? Elasticsearch logging, and these are the resources, right? And on that resources, what is the verb you are using? Action you are defining gate. So you are defining a role called as a cluster role whose name is Elasticsearch. It is going to perform the action called as a gate allowed on these endpoints, namespace, and services. So in the examination, it comes deployment, namespaces, or pods, something like that it comes, but it will be there. Okay. So you have to define like this one. And then you have to bind this cluster role with you have to bind this role service account or user with the role by using a cluster role binding, right? So let me save this. So you can see here that the subject is called as a service account. What is the name of the subject? It is Elasticsearch. And what is the role reference? It is cluster role. So this is a binding actually. And that's why it is called as a cluster role binding. So let me save this and deploy it. kubectl apply -f elasticsearch rback.yaml. And you can see that it has created 3 steps: service account, cluster role, and cluster role binding. And you can see here kubectl describe cluster role binding called as Elasticsearch. Here you will be able to see that the role is cluster role and the kinds. This is service account called as a Elasticsearch login, which has been bind. Okay, so that is the information it is showing you. Okay, now so this is about the cluster role binding. So we have created a cluster role. We have created a role that is RBAC for the Elasticsearch. Now we'll go for and we'll deploy the Elasticsearch. algorithm. So you can go here and open this, and you can see here now Elasticsearch algorithm. It is a stateful set, right? As we decided earlier, it is creating a stateful set because it is a database. Stateful set has replicas, right? Update strategy is rolling update. Selector and labels are used. Elasticsearch login, Elasticsearch login. And what else we can read from this one, guys? This is the image. Okay. So by default, from where it will pick up the image, guys? This one, Elasticsearch.6.8.4. From which repository? Kubernetes goes to the which repository by default repository?
Docker,
Will it go to the Docker?
Docker Hub, or okay.
I doubt actually it will go to the Docker Hub. It should go to the Docker Hub only, right? Yeah, correct. Because Docker is installed at this one.
Yeah.
And okay, yeah, correct. And see the ports and everything information. See volume mounts. Whatever the logs are available, it will get created inside this one. /data inside this container. And what is the volume name you have defined? You have defined the volume name. Right now it is mtdir. Where
So
you can
this
find this.
this one, Ramesh, will going to deploy in one specific worker node, or it will be deployed to all the worker node?
How many replicas are there? I think
Two.
it will be 2. So it will go into the 2 worker nodes. Maybe 1 worker node or 2 worker nodes.
It is not that
state,
one. It's not a daemon set. It's a
stateful sets.
Stateful set. Okay.
Yeah, it is stateful sets here. So I hope the main thing to understand this logic. So what is the logic that? So inside the container, inside the pod, /data folder will be created, and whatever the logs are there, that will get mapped. But where it will be get mapped? mtdir. So it is using a temporary imperial storage for storing the logs, and it makes sense also, right? If the pod dies, what is the need of keeping that logs in case you want? And in case you want to store, guys, you can have a different data volumes also in case you want to store the logs for your let's say some analysis or for finding out the faults. If you need that logs, you can keep that logs in some storage. And another container is going on. This is init container. So what is this init container? Do you remember it? We have discussed about the init containers. Init containers are the containers which starts before application container, right? And once it completes this task, then only this container will get started. Okay.
Ramesh, can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
So this we are using that empty directory, right? So everything will be get deleted once it is. You can see on the Okay. So in case like if you want to store it, like in case suppose by accidentally one of the pod get deleted.
You can use host path, or you can use a persistent volume. You can do that.
Okay. Okay.
You can create PVC. Let me save this. And now let me deploy it. kubectl create -f elasticsearch.yaml. In the interview.
So from where we got this basic template of Elasticsearch YML?
It is available on the Docker Hub and GitHub also.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Or you can go to the Elasticsearch this one website, and you can search it from that. You will get it.
Okay, thank you.
My question, Jeremy, like you said, you're gonna have it at the exam. How do you get the whole rollback YAML file? Can we find it on the Kubernetes website, or they're gonna provide us at the exam?
A role binding, right?
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah, a role binding, right? We were asking question if I. if I'm correct.
Yes, I was asking the question about the YAML file, the role bounding and the role bounding. Are we going to write it during the exam? Are we going to write it all the providers? Are we going to edit the information? How will you provide the whole YAML file?
No, you don't do specifically for the service account creation and role binding. Do not use YAML files. Use declarative way commands. If you start creating the YAML files, the exam time is just 2 hours. It flies like anything. So there are 3 commands. I will just give that commands you later on, guys. If once I get it, there is there will be one slot scheduled for the exam preparation. In that, I will show you that how to solve that question. Don't worry about it. But do not use more YAML files. Use the command lines, because command lines will be a little bit faster. You can type it faster and you can complete that question. I hope that is clear.
Yes, thank you, Ramesh.
Yeah. So can you see it is showing that this stateful sets has been started and -o wide. Yes. So one container is completed. That's why another container is running now. You can see here kubectl get pods from kube system -o wide. And look at this. You have a lot of pods will be there, but out of that, interesting pod to watch is the Elasticsearch. Can you see? This Elasticsearch logging 0. This is right now, and another pod is getting initialized till now. Worker 2. There are 2 replicas, right? So on that one, on worker 2, it is starting now. It is not yet started. It will start in some time. It's still in the pod initialization method. Okay, fine, no problem. It will take some time, guys, on the worker 2. Now,
but why in kube system namespace?
Basically, this logging should be from the different namespaces, right? So it should be deployed on the kube system namespace only. If you want to deploy, basically this kube system, kube dash system is the namespace which is used for it is used for to combine all the pods which are system related or daemon set related or something like that, which is other than the application pods. Most of the pods you can keep inside the kube system only. That's why there is no other logic here. Yeah, it started now. See, my both Elasticsearch logging is started now. It is working fine. Now, so moving ahead, Elasticsearch is deployed. Now let me go ahead and deploy the, we have checked it. Now we have to create a service for the Elasticsearch, right guys? So let me create it quickly. kubectl create Elasticsearch. So you can see this file as well, Elasticsearch YAML. It is a simple Elasticsearch service file whose name is Elasticsearch logging. It is getting created inside this one. It is running on the port 9200. Okay, so that's it. We have already created, so you can see kubectl get svc, and that will be inside
Cube system name.
Yeah, can you see Elasticsearch logging has been created here? Okay, cool.
Ramesh,
Once this,
sorry,
yeah,
sorry for interrupting. Yeah, means I think the STS means is deployed in the cube system only, no? That's why it's getting created in the cube system namespace.
no, STS can create any namespace. It is not like that it will be created only cube system. But
No,
since it is a
yeah.
since it is system related activities like logging and all, it is better to keep in the cube system rather than keeping in another namespace.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay, so we have deployed the Elasticsearch now, and it is very easy to deploy, right? Very easy. Now let's deploy the Logstash, and this is a config map for it. So let me just deploy it, guys, quickly. This is a config map created. You can describe it, kubectl describe config map called as logstash config map from the namespace called as a kubestash system. And you can see these are the values in the logstash. Okay, so this is some algorithm which is used here for logstash, right? It is going to use this some algorithm. So maybe some filter is there, date is there, GeoIP is there, output is this in this format. Okay, so some of the logic is being used in the logstash.conf. Okay, so this will be passed as a config parameters inside the logstash pod. HTTPD
This
host
will be
will
the
be,
filter one, right? Filter query.
yeah, filter query, right? And this is the, if in the logstash YAML, it will use http.host is equal to any config path is this one, this parameter will be passed, this will be filter will be given. So this is a logstash.conf. This information will be completely given as a file inside the logstash pod. Okay, and now once this is done, we have to deploy the logstash deployment. If you want to understand this, guys, we have to understand the logstash function. We have to study in detail, right? I'm just showing you here how to deploy that. But if you are interested, if you are thinking that here how this Elasticsearch is working, then we have to do study a little bit more. We have to open the books and we have to go to the site and we have to check it properly. In case you want to learn more about the logstash, and if you now by looking at this one, sometime you will not be able to understand what is this, right? But if you really want to understand this one, we have to take some time out of your busy schedule and go through the website or go through the documentation to learn about this one. But I think our main job is to understand something about the or how to deploy that, how to use it rather than reinventing the wheels, right? So let me deploy this logstash deployment. It is created. So if you want to see, open this file for quickly and see what is there inside it. So it shows that this is a kind deployment. It has a replicas, right? And it is using this docker.elastic.io logstash logs. This is the image it is using. And it is mounting the config maps as a volume here. Yeah, that is it, what it is there available. Now, once this is done, Logstash is deployed. So we have done the Elasticsearch, we have done the Logstash. We have to create a service for this Logstash now. Right, so I need to create a service for it. So it is created. Now, once service is created, then we'll go for the final one that is called as a daemon set, right? Called as a file bit. So let me go to this file and see how this is written. So it is creating a service account for the file bit. It is creating the role as well, which will have a get, watch, list verbs on the resources called as the namespace and pods. It is cluster role binding is given, and then config map is declared. Everything is in one file, guys. Everything is in one file. So this is config map file, and then we'll have a final daemon set called as a file bit. And can you see it is something called as daemon set? It has selectors and labels, and this is using this image. And some of the arguments has been passed. Command which is executing is etc filebit.yaml, and it is running as a user called as a 0, that is a root, and it is mounting the config map files below. So this is something about the file bit, and this file bit agent will get deployed on the each node.
It doesn't have toleration. So it will not deploy on masters.
Right. Correct. Let's see that. Yeah, because there is no toleration, right? So kubectl get pods -o wide from the kube system. Yes, and it is creating on worker 1 and worker 2, right? And it is not creating on the master node. Absolutely correct. Okay, so it will take some time to create it. So once this is created, so we have deployed the file width now. We have deployed the Elasticsearch as well as Logstash. Now the final thing that we need to deploy is called as the Kibana. So let me open this. So this is a Kibana deployment. You can see it is going to create only one replica. If you want, you can create more. And it is using this particular image. And this is Elasticsearch URL. So some of the environmental parameters has been passed here. Then it has created the service. So you can define the service as well as deployment in one file also. You don't have to maintain the multiple files. So let me deploy it. kubectl create -f Kibana elk.yaml, and that's it, guys. Hopefully it has created all the pods. So Kibana is getting created on the worker 2 because only one pod has been initiated, one replica has been initiated. It will get created in some time. So my view network Logstash is running properly. Then Kibana is about to create, file width is also running properly, and Elasticsearch is also running properly. Okay, so I hope that this Kibana logging will get started. This takes some time, lot of time, guys. Look at this, is taking 34 seconds. Okay, so this is done now. Once you deploy this Kibana and everything, I think it will come in some time. Then you can access the Kibana dashboard from the web browser using this port. I think hope the ports are opened. So 32010. Yes, this is also started. Kibana is also started properly. You can see somewhere you will be able to see Kibana. It is running on the worker 2. Okay, so let me just fire one command here, but it is on the worker 2, right? So what is the IP address of my master node? Let me check out. This is IP address. And let me go to
check the service of Kibana one. Is the port, I think.
Okay. Sorry. KubeKit. Thank you very much. Service -n cube dash system. It should run on the same port 32010. Yeah. Because it is a coded, right? Hard coded. So it is now running. This is your Kibana logging. You can enjoy it now. So your portal has come up. You can see the discover. You can discover in order to visualize and explore data in Kibana, you need to create an index pattern. We have to define this one. You can create a dashboard. Timely on. There is some application now. It is taking to some other application. Okay, something, these graphs are there. You have a dev tools. I have actually not done much about this work on the Kibana for the one, but I will show you one or two examples how we can create indexes and all. Okay, so this is done now, guys. I need to create indexes. So let's see that how to do that. So this is my log stash. So let's go to the next. So it is creating index patterns. Okay, so let me just check out what is the step next. Okay, so working with Kibana here. So this Kibana dashboard has come up here. So you can use this log stash. Step 2 is that you have to select the timestamp, which I have selected, and select timestamp as the time filter and click on the next create next pattern, index pattern. We have done that job. And once that is done, then what you need to do, then index will get created in a few seconds. And now click on discover. You should see something like the following. So I have clicked on the discover, but it is not showing me anything till now. Okay, so let me create one more time log stash. Yes, it is create, right? Correct. Then next step, we are going to give the timestamp, and it is saying create an index pattern. Okay, so let me create index pattern. It is showing this index pattern not found. So it takes some time. Last time also it happened that it was taking some time to bring up all the index patterns. Okay, and it should show you the below that all the logs which are going on. We need to wait for some time, guys. But let me just create. One second, friends. Okay, so till the time it is fetching the data, do you have any questions? Surendra asking every time if you deploy Kibana, the IP address will change, correct? No, why? Because this is my AWS IP address, Azure IP address, master node.
Oh, it's a master IP address?
Yeah, this is master IP address, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then it is directly it exposes to outside. Okay.
Yes, 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 32010.
Okay.
It is a node port service used.
Okay. So the IP address, we do have that, right? So can we change that into as a DNS name, like as a company name, suppose?
Yeah, we can do that.
Something like that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, okay.
I just need to copy this one, go to the DNS server of it, and just create a record in the DNS.
Okay. In Azure portal only, right? It's a global DNS.
I see. If I want to, I have my GoDaddy wala account. Let me show you that in case it works here quickly. I have an account here. Let me go to my products, and inside that there is a DNS.
It's a stupid question.
No,
it's a stupid question. Just I'm raising one more. We can have for the one IP address, we can have the multiple DNSs, correct?
Yes, you can have.
Yeah, thank you.
And Ramesh, on that part where you're telling log slash, that one can be also in master, right?
Sorry, please come again. I was in the different thought process? Please, can you ask me
No,
question?
no, I was wondering because during that log slash discussion you were indicating, right? Only it was coming on worker 1, worker 2. So it will come on master also, right? That's how, because that's a daemon and it will be on all the nodes, right?
Yes, it is. It is a service level component, right? It is talking across the cluster, across the master.
Across master, so it will be
across the cluster. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
So it will be in the master also. Okay. So and then when it comes to elastic, like elastic one, you indicated that like you are Kibana, you are giving one replica set. That makes sense because I don't know when I'll go for multiple. That's where I was. And for elastic, how much replica set based on the nodes I have to give, right? Or that is also because that's a stateful set, right?
Right. So that's why we should have one master, multiple replicas can be there. Right. Always in the
Even
stateful
I
set,
think
we'll
it's
have
a
one.
deployment word. It's not the stateful.
No, he's asking about Elasticsearch.
Okay.
Yeah. Because in fact, I was trying to understand overall this ELK altogether. So log slash you're telling for daemon, so I don't have to worry. It will go for everywhere. But again, Kibana is like, yeah, of course, it's more towards the one I can have and can be used by multiple. But Elasticsearch would be for each node, right? So I should know how many nodes and then I'll have to do, or how that is like.
No, Elasticsearch is the daemon set. Sorry, it is a stateful set.
Correct.
And if you say that I want 3 replicas or 5 replicas, in that one will be always your master node and 4 will be replicas.
So in Elastic, I should know how much master and worker I have it based on that. I have to configure.
In Elasticsearch, since it is a stateful set, remember the diagram of the stateful set. In the stateful set, if you are creating a 5 replicas, okay, so first one will be always master, and the remaining 4 are replicas.
No, my only thought was if there are multiple master and those kind of different regions, so it will be, I need to take care of those, right?
Yeah.
Because
yes,
I was
correct.
thinking like if there is multiple regions and then if that kind of thing, then I'll have to, I was not sure how to decide on the Elasticsearch replica set.
Okay. So now think about that. You have one cluster or across the region is there, right? So your file bit will be there across all the regions, right? And then it will be logstash will be also it will be across the, let's say, region.
Correct.
Right. And your stateful set is also, it is basically namespace product, right? So even if it is there on the one machine, it is running on, let's say, worker 1 or worker 5 or worker 100, all the logs will be diverted to that, irrespective of where it is, right? Just let me finish this one. So
no problem.
This is the, you can ask me that question in the next session, Aviram. I got your question, okay, but we'll just have,
That's what I was like kind of, there was somewhat.
I got your question because we will be discussing about the architecture now. As I promised you earlier, we'll have a discussion on the on the architecture, high availability, what parameters should we consider for creating the cluster. So that we'll have a session, guys, don't worry. So this is something about the Kibana dashboard, guys. You can see here. And what you want to search? You want to search by host name. You want to search by beat name. How to search it, okay, right? And if you want to search, let's say, let me deploy one application, small application here, and try to search it. So now what I will do, accessing application database, let me deploy this application, simple one deployment. Surendra, did you got my this one? Kibana is now directing by the host name, sorry, DNS name.
Yeah, you use GoDaddy, right?
Yes.
In Azure, we have that global DNS.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So this is my application got created, and so that's fine, guys. kubectl get pods and everything is running there. Now expose the application.
Might
Why
be
this
the
error is coming?
ports are
No,
already exist.
somebody might have created ngSync deployment because this is a normal stuff going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, deployment slash. Okay. Why it is not coming?
You
kubectl.
deleted the deployment.
You deleted the deployment. You need to create one more
Oh, I
deployment
wanted to
and
delete the
expose.
service actually. Yes, yes, I want to
That's
delete the service.
not the deployment.
Yes. Yeah, it is now I will deploy it again. Now it is exposed. All right, and creating a load generated pod, we shall create a continuous request on the Nginx server. So let me create a pod, and from that we will have something called as we'll generate the load. So this is a busybox container we have started, and inside that now from this one we'll fire a command on the Nginx deployment pod. So what is that command? wget command. Okay, I need to. Okay, but I need to use the port numbers, guys. I need to find out that, right? Okay, 1 second. Just couple of minutes, guys, more. You need to spare a couple of minutes more, please. Then we'll close the session. Now, okay, and let me take the kubectl get service. So we have Nginx deployment service, right, guys? Can you see here? Okay, its port number is 31905. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll just fire this command. Execute infinitely to load the Nginx HP application pod. Any worker node's public IP address with the node port allocated for the HPA service. Okay, no problem. I will use master node. And what is the port number?
It's 31905.
31905 space, yeah, colon /10, right? Yeah, so it is going on. Now, if you go there in the monitoring and you see access the Kibana dashboard on the search type and just type the Nginx string and click the refresh. You should be able to see Nginx application logs continuously. So let me go to my dashboard, and here I will type here Nginx, and you should be able to see. Let me refresh it. Can you see here? It is showing wget command is going on. So continuously this command is going on. It is showing here in the logs. Every second something is happening here, and these logs are getting captured inside this for the Nginx deployment. You can see its logs are also coming here like this. So this is the way we can just check out this. Yeah, and that's it. This is what the demonstration was. And I tried my best to explain in the ELK stack. So make sure that whenever you deploy the ELK stack, appropriate daemon sets, appropriate stateful sets, as well as deployments need to be created depending on how much workload is there. And you can see, guys, now this is getting now count is getting increased again and again. Can you see? Because it is a continuous load now. Number of requests which are coming here, a huge number, 6,000 count. A lot of options are there. Okay. So we have to create a dashboard. You can just, guys, just go through this one. There is no, but this is not a big deal now. All right, so that's it from my side about the Kibana ELK stack. If you have any question, you can ask me. And another important thing is that what is left out from the syllabus is a couple of things which I have told you in the starting of session. Now, what is left out, guys? We have not covered etcd backup. This is pending. We need to finish the cluster upgrade, HA cluster architecture, and on the AKS we deploy this dynamic provision and application stack. So these are the topics are left out, right? So
Probably an Istio.
yeah, Istio is also there. Istio is also there. Yeah. So I think we need to add 3 to 4 sessions, not 3 to 4 sessions. Couple of session for this one, and one session is definitely required for this one. We'll see that whether it gets completed in one session or 2 sessions. It is required. Okay, so another important message that I want to pass, that from next week, I think it is 8th May, new batch is starting, I think so, on the weekend as well. So when these particular sessions will be conducted, it will not be taken long time, but within 15 days or maybe before that also, the session will be arranged, and the K21 guys will give the information about this one. Okay, when this next session will be there, just keep watch on these schedulers, guys, and I will take this all the sessions completed properly, and Istio we have to do it. So make sure that, guys, all these sessions are very, very important, which are coming up next: etcd backup, cluster upgrade, and I am going to discuss about the architecture as well. So please make sure that you attend all the sessions. Okay, so I cannot get past that point.
Ramesh, what you're in? Sorry, I didn't catch. So you're telling next week we'll start the new batch, but this one will come later. Huh? This all architecture is TO or
yeah, the dates will be informed to you by the K21 people, that when the sessions will be conducted.
or
But
even Q&A, right? The Q&A that not Q&A, sorry, exam session, mock session, right?
yes. Sessions will be conducted, and yeah, exam session will be conducted as well, because I want to add this one architecture related discussion as well.
Thanks.
So yeah.
Sense,
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, so that's it from my side. I hope that you enjoyed today's session. You got some more information today. Please use that information, study about that one, and use it in for the interviews and as well as for the jobs. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Ramesh,
So
other than this, there is nothing on CK. Just sorry, I mean, other than this, there is nothing on CK. Is this how logically we are ending it, right? Or
yeah, right, yes, correct.
okay.
But these couple of sessions are there. Don't forget about this one, because CK, this question comes, this question comes. So we have to be ready on this one.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right, guys, that's it from my side.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoyable
Dan,
class today.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Dan, your question is that I cannot get past that point to join nodes to my cluster, right? So Dan, can you unmute and talk to me?
Ramesh, I have a quick question after this.
Yeah.
If you, it's like not a big one, it's a small, just 1 minute thing. This is regarding the persistence volumes and the volume claim. The scenario is I created a pod and persistent volume and claim and everything, all the stuff, service and everything to the pod. But when I created the pod, I have mounted the wrong mount path. Means inside the container, I just mentioned the wrong one. I don't means not the one which I was intended to do it. So now after creating the pod and the PVC, everything is assigned. But now when I wanted to change the mount path to the PVC, I couldn't do that without deleting the pod or PVC or PV.
Right.
How can we do
Is it
that?
static? Is it static?
Yeah, it's static pod. Yes, static pod.
No, then you can't do it.
Okay, only in deployment we can change it and then
because
do that,
if
right?
you have a YAML file, in that one you can deployment YAML file, you can change it. But even your pod YAML file is there, it will stop the container, it will delete the container, and you have to recreate it. So
yes,
that will
yes,
not
I did like with the pod one. Since I cannot delete, since pod is using the PV and PVCs, right? So the interlink is there, right? So couldn't delete PV without deleting the PVC or PVC without deleting the pod. So that's very like I haven't tried for deployment, but I wanted to have a question like this thing. What happens to the deployment?
Yeah, deployment you can change it
because it recreates the containers, right? The pods, I mean.
Yes.
Okay.
The same logic is there, but it is taking care of your manual efforts. Deployment.
Correct. Okay. Ramesh. Just thought I wanted the clarification. Thank you.
Hi, Ramesh.
Yeah. Hi, Dan.
Yeah. Sorry, I just created the new Azure account and I did create my worker node, my master nodes, but at a certain point when I run the kubeadm init, it would not give me, it just keeps giving errors. So I'm not sure where I went wrong or what I'm doing wrong.
So can you just tell me one thing, Dan? Can you just capture the logs, screenshot of it, and send the email to the support team? I will immediately check it.
Yeah, I did. I was just sending this to you to see if it's something we could quickly talk about, and then I go through. But I already sent it to support already.
It is sent? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, no problem.
I sent it to support. Yeah.
So because I have to check it, couple of things inside that, whether it is, have you opened the ports, all the ports?
Yes, I opened all the ports, and you see, if you look at the log, it says pod in use, pod in use.
Okay, so this is you have sent the logs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One second, just give me 1 second, then I can immediately help you. Okay. Is it Azure? Oh, Dan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, do one thing. You fire this command, kubeadm reset.
Okay.
And press Y. It will ask you question that whether you want to go ahead or not. Once that is done, then use this command rm-fr. You are using root user?
Yes, I'm a root user.
Yeah, so do this one, root dot kube for this one. Fire this command.
Okay.
And then kubeadm init. And then fire command kubeadm init. That's it. It will work.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me just get that. Where is it again? Okay, you see, I do reset and then I fire kubeadm. Okay.
And then you have to fire these 3 commands.
Okay. Okay, before I fire the init, the last command, which is the init, right?
Yeah, that means you have to bootstrap the content, the cluster again.
Okay. Thank you. I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll
you
let
can try out that and let me know.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Ramesh, I have one more question. While we are creating the master worker node 1 and 2, the virtual machines on the Azure portal, so on the networking policy, we enable protocol, right? Any to any, source to destination for
Right.
the all ports are open. So from our the company point and networking policy point, so we cannot open that way. So what's the best ports we need to be enabled and how we need to get rid of that issue?
Oh, so I'll tell you. So in Kubernetes docker.io file location, you can easily find out the ports need to be opened for the. So you can go to documentation and ports for cluster. So I think there is a list of the ports. Somewhere it is given, the total list of the ports are given. You have to just open that ports.
Okay, just we need to open for each, I mean, whatever the
Each one.
nodes.
Yeah, each
Okay.
one, each one. Right. That
Okay.
is important. So
And
get the list of the port numbers here. It is there somewhere. I am not getting right now, but it is somewhere it is there. Yeah.
okay, let me search on that one too. And is that a SSH port? It's the port number 22. That is also need to be open like from our local laptop or the public IP address.
Yeah, because if you want to troubleshoot or if you want to log in inside that and you want to test it, right? So
Yes.
something like etcd cluster, etcd backup and restoration, you need to go into the cluster worker node or sorry master node and you have to perform that activity. That time you'll require it. So have a 22 port open.
But the protocol, it shouldn't be the source. It shouldn't be any to any, right?
You can use your IP. You can use IP address of your laptop in case it is a public IP address, or it will pick up that proper IP address, and you can say that from my laptop only. So it will pick up one IP address. But there is a problem that every time if you use a different network, then the IP address will change from the source IP address will change.
Yeah, that's the main problem to me. So should we need to go with any or any other solution we do have?
No, and then you have to create one thing. Then you have to create a server on the AWS or Azure. You can create one more server, and from your laptop you give the connection to the that particular stuff for server. That is called a jump server. You can create a jump server.
Oh yeah, jump server we need to create, and that IP address need to create it, and every time I need to come from the jump server.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Ramesh.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys. So see you soon in the next session. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself.
Yep. Thank you, Ramesh. See you. Bye.